Welcome back to Straight Facts on Friday. I'm joined by Staffy, Lawless. Don is on his way. Lots to talk about and debate today. Are Man United going to be hijacked for Brian and Mbeumo? Spurs are interested and the player is supposedly intrigued now. We're going to take a look at that deal. David Ornstein speaks of Arsenal's pursuit of Rodrygo and states that the links are real. The deal could happen. We're taking a look at that. And Arsenal's speed so far this summer. Is it right? Is it wrong? We're getting the boys' views there. We're also going to take a look at Chelsea, who, and we need to be honest about Chelsea. They've bought the lap. They look like they're going to get Gittens, but is there space in the team for the Ekitekes and the Kudusses that they're also linked to with the players like Quenda coming in next year? Are they buying too many youngsters? Do they need more experience? We're going through all of that on the show. Plus, United reportedly in talks with Victor Osimhen as an alternative to Gyökeres should we lose out on that deal. Lots to talk about, but first of all, boys, how are you both? You both well and good?
Good. I think Potts has given me COVID, like when I went drinking with him the other day. So I'm soldier on. When I found out about this Mbeumo news, I thought, let me see what you guys are saying. I want to talk about. I want to, see where your head's at.
See where our head's at. Well, we'll start with that story, and I'll give it. The Sky Sports have said that Spurs are still interested and the player is now intrigued by Spurs. Oh, he's lost his camera again. Where's he gone again? He's lost his camera. Just you and I for now.
He didn't want to talk about it.
He's bottled it. He's bottled. Oh, he's back with us. He's back with us.
Was that lagging? I don't know what happened.
No, I don't know. I didn't.
You guys were not synced up with your words. Your lips were moving, but I'm hearing something different.
That must be your end. Yeah, the viewers haven't said that, so it must have been your side.
It must have been me.
Yeah. So Sky have said that he's intrigued. Sky have said that he's sort of like, there's a slight change in the deal. Ben Jacobs has come out and given. I love Ben to bits, but there's still an important bit of information missing. But has said that the player hasn't yet given any encouragement to Spurs, but they are willing to bid if he does change his mind. Spurs are aware that the player's preference is Manchester United, but Spurs have told Brentford to keep them abreast, keep them up to date with what's going on. And what's your view on this stuff? Obviously, every rival and his dog has jumped on this like a bitch in heat. It's going to happen. United are going to get embarrassed. Very few rivals want to make a prediction, though, which I do find telling. But are you pressed? Are you concerned about this, Staffy, as a Man United fan?
I feel like people doing too much of it, but I understand it's Friday. It's a slow news day, maybe. The weekend is coming in. The transfer window is technically closed right now, so people need something to talk about. And I think they just made this one just a big deal out of nowhere. I feel like a lot of people woke up today surprised all of a sudden that Thomas Frank has been the manager of Spurs, as if we didn't know for over a week or two now that he's going to be the manager. They're like, oh, maybe now that he's the Tottenham manager, maybe Mbeumo is going to go. I'm pretty sure, and Mbeumo is known for quite a while now, that Thomas Frank is going to Spurs. I'm sure they spoke. I'm sure they text. I'm sure he knew about it. It's not like Mbeumo woke up today and he's like, oh my God, Thomas Frank, this little bitch, he didn't tell me he's going to Spurs. If he would have told me, I would have probably agreed to go to Spurs as well. I promise you, Mbeumo already knew. So listen, I understand Spurs wanting to, now that especially that they got Thomas Frank, they're trying to get Mbeumo. They've been interested in him anyways up until this summer, leading into the summer, I should say. So I'm not surprised that they're letting him know, like, hey, listen, just in case you change your mind, not only do we still want you, we got your gaffer. So let us know if anything changes. And I haven't heard anything about him changing his opinion on joining Man United. So I'm not really concerned about it. It's regular transfer talk to me, honestly. I'd be lying if I told you I'm concerned.
Listen,
what are you gonna say?
I get you want to downplay it and all of that and everything that you're saying, but it does stand to it. If Spurs have genuine interest as a club, like, and they've got the money there to spend, then it stands to reason that can definitely turn Mbeumo's head, because there is not just the Thomas Frank links, it's the Champions League football as well at the same time. So when you couple that, it's a manager he knows, has performed well under, is probably close with, and playing Champions League football, that's hard to turn down. So if Spurs make a genuine approach,
But he already did. Did they just get Champions League football today? He's known that they've had Champions
League
football.
Saying everything that you're talking about, Staffy, he's never and Mbeumo's never come out and said, I just want Man United. Like Man United is.
What do you mean? The report said that. The report says his preference is to join United.
All we can go on is reports. So, and with those reports, I'm not saying them reports are wrong, but it leaves out nuance and subtlety and context and intent, right? Of when he's looking at it, yeah, he might go and go, yeah, I'd like to go Man United. That's a good club. They want me. I have a good fit. But that doesn't mean that it's Man United or nothing. It doesn't mean if another club comes in, well, there's no way I'm going for them. Like none of this has been said. So we're going off these reports.
But it has been said. It has been said. So Spurs already approached.
Mbeumo quote.
Well, okay, we haven't heard anything from the player, but if we're going to start going down those lines, then we can't ever talk about anything. We can't ever. You can't ever come on and say, "I don't like Bruno's attitude because I think it stinks in the dressing room." If there's no quote from anybody in the dressing room saying that it stinks, because you do things like that.
Yeah,
so
we have to take things with a grain of salt, don't we?
Well, no, I don't think we take things with a grain of salt. I think we have to be open-minded. So I'm open-minded to the fact that he could change his mind. It is not impossible for Mbeumo to change his mind. But what we do know is that he has told Arsenal, told Newcastle, told Forest, and told Tottenham just 10 days ago that he wants to join Man United and not them. Thank you, but no thank you. Now, the offers from those clubs were all different. Arsenal clearly, for anyone who gets triggered, were offering him a backup role to Saka on the right, where United are offering him a first-team burst in the left side, did 10. But they all offered him a package. I still don't believe that at no point in those conversations with Tottenham, Thomas Frank's name came up. Because at the same time that those conversations were happening, it was already well established in the press that Thomas Frank was a leading candidate for the football club. But what we were told by the likes of David Ornstein and Ben Jacobs and Fabrizio Romano and many other journalists who we all know are highly credible is that his preference and his aim and his desire is to join Manchester United. So, of course, his mind can change, but he has made a decision. Does Thomas Frank go and change things? Potentially, but that's not what any of the reports have said. They said there's an intrigue. Now, again, what does that mean? What does intrigue mean? You read Ben Jacobs' report and it says Spurs are willing to pay more than Man United have offered so far. Man United are also willing to pay more than we've bid so far. They said if they receive any encouragement, which means they haven't been given any encouragement yet that the player has changed his mind. So I'm not panicked. Again, I've got a little concern. Oh, it'd be horrible to lose him now. I'd be frustrated. But there is no credible story that says the player has started to change his mind, is considering his options, is upset with the, United haven't got the deal over the line yet. The transfer window hasn't opened yet. There was a 10-day window that was solely put in place to help the World Club Cup teams sign players. And I know Liverpool did some business in that period, but you've got to remember why they did that. The main deal was Wirtz. It's because City were looking at him and Bayern were looking at him. Had they not done what they did in that opening since the end of the season until yesterday when they signed him, officially announced it, had they not have done the work then and said, we're not going to bother with any transfer talk until the summer, then Bayern or City could have got him. That's the only reason their major signing was done early is because two Club World Cup teams wanted him. I don't see why Man United fans should be panicking at this particular point. And equally, with all the rivals saying, you're being hijacked, nobody's willing to make a prediction. Nobody's willing to say, Terry, you are 100% getting hijacked, or it's highly likely you'll miss out. They're just winding us up. That's my view.
It's not highly likely, 100%. But to say like what Staffy was saying, I'm not worried. It's no issue. Like,
it's how I feel, bro. I'm not concerned. You want me to be concerned?
Why is it Man United or nothing for Mbeumo? Why does Thomas Frank?
I just think we're gonna get the deal done.
No, but why?
They just
why
10 days ago.
But what?
Go ahead.
No, I just want you. No, I'm just asking a question. I just want you to explain to me why he would turn down every other club, every other. I know Terry made the point about Arsenal, which is a good point. That being the first choice striker, first choice in his position. First person is going to be key, right? In that position. That's key, first team football. But in terms of like Spurs or other clubs, like why Why is it Man United? Like, why is his heart so set on where
But
he's going to?
he's picked Man United. He said that Champions League football isn't wasn't like a deal breaker for him. He's bought into the project. There is a solid report that he was a United fan as a kid, so that can play a part. He likes what we don't know specifically what he's been told. They're never going to reveal that. But what he has been told by Ruben and by the club, out of all the offers he got, that was the one that was most appealing to him. What was really interesting is what we were also told. It was the money that he was being offered that was the real deal breaker. The only reason that he picked us was the money. So now suddenly he's going to change his mind to go and earn less money. But yet a week ago, what we were trying to be convinced and gaslit into believing as United fans is that he's a money grabber and he's a mercenary. Now suddenly he might not be a mercenary and a money grabber. At the end of the day, as things stand, he has picked Manchester United as his next destination. He doesn't want to play for any other club that has offered him a contract or offered him a deal. I'm not saying there's no other club he'd rather play for. He may change his mind. Neither Staffy or I have said he won't change his mind. He'd rather stay at Brentford than not join United. But what's more likely for me is not him changing his mind. What's more likely to stop this deal is Man United and Brentford not coming to an agreement. That's fundamental. And if we then walk away because we are saying we're not paying 75 million, and then Spurs say we will pay 75 million, and then he goes to Tottenham, that's fundamentally different from the player changing his mind. That is more plausible. So United go, do you know what? We've offered you 65 million in totality, and you're now asking for 75. You're taking the piss. If Man United walk away, and then in 4 or 5 weeks, Spurs bid the 75 million, and then Mbeumo says, right, I'll go to you then because United have walked away. That for me isn't the same as a hijack. That isn't the same as that's not the player rejecting you. That is you and Brentford not coming to an agreement. That's more likely, in my opinion, than Mbeumo waking up this morning, being shocked, looking at his phone, going, "Oh my God, I can't believe old Thomas the Frank engine has gone to Spurs. I'm rethinking my life decisions." I don't think that's how it's working personally.
No. Of course, like it's not going to work. And listen, I think you're still the front runner, but what I'm saying is it's a threat. This is a threat to you. How big a threat we can debate on that, but it's something to show some level of concern about. I wouldn't just dismiss it, is what I'm saying. You are leading the race. You've done the groundwork. You've got the massive head start. All I'm saying is there is an attraction that if Spurs could potentially put together a good attempted package for him, that pull of Champions League and Frank, that could help. But all I'm saying is at the moment, yes, Man United are leading the race 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I said everything that I want
to go. A lot of the chat are not happy. They're saying that I'm waffling. Plastic City fan here says Mbeumo chooses Spurs over Crisis United. Embarrassing. Well, you've said that we're a crisis, so it's not that embarrassing. For his career, he needs to go to Spurs. United will ruin him like they ruin every other incoming player. Well, that may be a fair claim. That may be a fair claim that you've got there. But we didn't ruin most of our signings we made last year in this new regime. Most of them played quite well and look quite promising. So if we have another season, maybe buying better players, but having equally as good success rate of those players, De Ligt and Maz and Yoro. Ugarte started coming into himself. Young Heaven looked brilliant when he made those appearances. But if we buy better players at the same success rate, then
wait, let me ask something. And that's the Lawless in the chat. What's so attractive about Spurs all of a sudden? Because I swear, if we had a segment talking about Spurs right now, you'd all be making fun of them. It's just because we're having them in the same conversation as United. Now people are saying players should be going to Spurs. Are we just pretending that they didn't just sack a manager a couple days ago and we don't know anything about their direction right now?
Listen, I agree. Spurs aren't like this super attractive club. What I've said is the attraction is Frank and Champions League football. That is what they've got. They've still got the issues with Daniel Levy running the club and how he runs the club. There's still a bit of a circus. It's not somewhere where you go and you say, that's a project that has legs, and I'm gonna season on season. They've got a plan for growth. Like they could always just fluctuate. So yeah, I'm not saying that Spurs have got that.
So here's the thing: if Spurs are so attractive, forget Mbeumo now for a second. How come I've heard no noise all transfer window about any big names going to Spurs? I heard Sané, who ended up going to Galatasaray. I'm hearing Jack Grealish, who, let's just be honest, he's probably washed anyways. He's not even going with Man City to the Club World Cup. What has the Champions League pool really done anything this summer? Please, I want anyone to.
Their management situation, they've only just got that sorted. They've only just got their new guy in, you know? So
no, but I don't think it's down to the manager anyways. Because Ainge got sacked last Friday out of nowhere. Before that, we heard nothing. We heard more players getting confirmed to United and other teams before Spurs even sacked Ainge. We didn't even know that Ainge was getting sacked up until a week ago. So what's so attractive about Spurs and Champions League all of a sudden?
I just
want to know what changed. I'll tell you what changed. It's just that United's in the conversation. Every opportunity possible to just try to shit on United. No, it's the truth, because no one was calling Spurs attractive. Now all of a sudden I'm hearing people in the chat trying to tell me, oh, but Spurs is attractive. No one was fucking saying that. Why?
I think they're just saying you're less attractive. I think that's what they're saying.
We're not less attractive because he's already picked us over Spurs. And I just can't believe what this really boils down to, like comments like this from MPD. They have Champions League football. They do. But they had Champions League football 10 days ago when he picked Man United. Newcastle have amazing owners compared to Tottenham. They're a better team than Tottenham. They have a better manager than Tottenham, a better squad than Tottenham. They have Champions League football and an amazing project, and he picked Man United over Newcastle. Arsenal are in a better position, have a better, I'm talking Tottenham here, better position, better squad, better finances, better manager. The only thing they don't have is a better stadium, and Mbeumo picked us over them as well. So what this really is from rivals, and all you're going to see as a response is copium, or you're this or you're that. It's going to be ad hominem attacks and no debate. Is all the rivals that's bums got hurt, like really sliced and diced and smashed 10 days ago when he chose United. They went from saying it was only for money. They were gutted at first, then they pulled on the thread of it's only for money, when in fact United are only paying him the going rate for a player as good as him. And now what they have is the slight whiff, the little bit of an aroma of the opportunity to attack Man United, because so far this summer, last season's ended, the signing of Cunha rattles our rivals. Mbeumo in green to join rattles our rivals. So this is just an attempt. We've got a little window of opportunity here to attack Manchester United. That is all this is. That's all it is in the world. And look, Spurs, have a chance of hijacking this deal. I think it's more likely that we walk away and then they sign him than the player changing his mind. But that also could happen as well. But all you're witnessing, and the thing that people are laying their hat on is this, well, Thomas Frank's there now, it's changed things. There have been multiple sources, multiple stories that you can read from the beginning of April until the 30th of May. And I picked the 30th of May because that's before Mbeumo decided to join us, that highly incredibly link Thomas Frank to the Spurs job. Just go and do the research now. The articles are out there in that time period. There is no way, with Ange already having been sacked, because that was confirmed weeks before the final. We all knew he was going to go. The only thing that actually muddied the water is whether they'd changed their mind if he stayed. We all knew he was going. Thomas Frank's been one of the lead candidates this whole time. And Mbeumo knew there was a great chance that he was going there, and he still picked Man United.
You can't say he picked Man United if they made a move for him. They give him something. They haven't given him an option.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, I'm saying if Spurs haven't gone and made any contacts and made an approach for Mbeumo, they haven't given him the option to pick Spurs. No.
The point I'm making is 10 days ago when he rejected Tottenham, it was already widely published because go out. It's there. Just go and research the 1st of April until the 30th of May. And go and check all the articles, highly credible, of Anne's going to be sacked and how high Thomas Frank was on the agenda. I don't believe it's plausible that in all the conversations that Spurs had with Mbeumo when they made him an offer that he rejected, that the conversation with Thomas Frank didn't come up. In my opinion, it most certainly did. So this idea that he's woken up in shock, gone, oh my God, Tom, oh bloody hell, Frank. Oh, Frankie boy has joined Spurs. I'm going to reassess my life. That for me is so far-fetched. What isn't far-fetched?
Being official changes things, though. When it's official, it's different to this is something that we're strongly considering.
I don't necessarily think so. I felt all along, and I don't know about you lot, that Thomas Frank felt like a nailed-on deal. Last week when they sacked Big Ange, This was, I think, just before we got the here we go on the personal terms. We all sat here and spoke. We were all saying Thomas Frank, Thomas Frank, Thomas Frank, Thomas Frank. Or maybe in the week before that, might have been 2 weeks ago. We all sat there and said those things. So suddenly now we're rewriting history. Like if we as football fans on the outside were all really convinced it would be Thomas Frank or highly likely, imagine what the word is internally within football. Let's be honest about this. How Spurs get him over Man United, for me, is if Man United can't come to a deal with Brentford. Outside of that, until I see the news, and this, I don't know if Staffy agrees with me, until I see the news from a credible source that his mind has changed or is starting to change, I'm just not going to panic.
I mean, listen, for someone to change his mind in 10 days, this is not Football Manager, okay? This just doesn't happen in 10 days. Let's just be a little bit less childish about this, please. He's agreed 10 days ago, verbally or whatever, to join a club. It seems like there was no issues with the personal terms at all. If anything, as you said there, I'm more concerned about my club rather than him. If he ends up going to Spurs because we don't pull off the deal and we don't pay the money that Brentford want to, but Spurs do, then I'm going to shake their hands and be like, congrats, you guys did what we didn't. It was on the clubs, and your club they behaved a little bit better than ours. That's it. That's it. Anything else, I mean, like, as I said, this is not FIFA. He's not going to change his mind in 10 days just so little kids can sit in the chat and banter on Twitter and all that. That's not going to happen. Honestly, it's ridiculous at this point. I don't know what people are even saying at this point.
Nicholas here says, Terry, you don't think it means nothing. Maybe Frank had spoken to him after he was confirmed. How would you know otherwise? Well, this is the point, Nicholas. I don't know otherwise, so I'm not panicking about it. If this news today from Sky and Ben Jacobs in separate reports said the player's mind is starting to change, or the player is now seriously reconsidering his options, I would be sitting here in a different frame of mind. But I am not going to panic about news that has not been confirmed. That doesn't make sense. So you could be right. I'm going by what we knew. And this is the problem with these two. Again, forget what you want to happen. Oh, you want United chat on. I hate United. Or you hate me and my opinions. If we were in a genuine debate with objective people, my argument wins. Because my argument is we knew about the Thomas Frank leaks very publicly. There are multiple articles for months making him one of the favorites, if not the favorite. There were heavy links of Ange being sacked. And if we know that on the outside of football, I think it's a very good assumption, a very credible assumption to say internally in football, this talk was also going on. So I believe when Mbeumo rejected Spurs, he had an idea at the very least, if not knew, that Thomas Frank could or would be the manager. That, for me, is provable based on the stories that were already published that we already knew about. What you're saying is Thomas Frank might have contacted him and changed his mind. Well, if Ben Jacobs and Sky knew that, along with everything else they've said, surely they would mention it. So, like, again, until it's mentioned, why would I be angry? Why would I be frustrated until it's confirmed? Please answer me that question. You weren't 100% that Ange would be sacked, though. Well, of course, I can't be 100% sure because I'm not in the boardroom. But we were told this during a Straight Fact show by Matt Law with LB and Dan Potts 2 months ago, that irrespective of the results at the end of the season, he'd be sacked. That was the narrative from most outlets. Sorry?
Ange clearly thought he was staying when he was giving it the whole season 3 is better than season 2. So we all knew he didn't.
Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. That's it. But what I'm saying is, it was a very credible report from Matt Law saying that he would be gone irrespective of the results. I think winning the final created this murky water of will he or won't he. There was that massive report that Henry Wright got slaughtered for, Nicholas. So, Nicholas, this report came out about a week before Mbeumo made his decision. And Henry Wright got abuse online by Tottenham fans when he reacted to Spurs has been sacked and the announcement is coming soon. We went live with it too and got abuse. So when you say you weren't 100% that Anne would be sacked, I was in the 90% area based on multiple credible reports over 2 to 3 months. So this is the point you're making here. I'm basing my views and opinions on multiple credible stories, not fantasy land that based on what fans want to happen with no evidence. Again, if Sky Sports and Jacobs and Ornstein today said, or Matt Law, there's been conversations in the last 2 or 3 days in Mbeumo's mind starting to change, I would be, and Staffy, I think would agree with me, would be feeling very differently about this transfer at this point. But until those reports come out, Why would I be angry about something that I don't know if it is even true, let alone happening? Yes. Don, welcome to the show, my friend. But thanks for the challenge there, Nicholas. Staffy, are you a fan of Mr. Who?
Mr. Iguana? I don't know who Mr. Iguana is.
That just sounds funny. That just sounds funny. What's that?
I think he's a wrestler. When you put his super chat back on, it's a guy looks like an iguana that looked like a WWE event. I don't know. It might have been a part of that Mexican promotion that they did last week. So I don't know.
Is that what it is?
Look him up now. Mr. Iguana's crazy. What a name.
See who he is and what he looks like. You have to check him out. All us rivals want is for you to take it just as much as you dish it out, Terry. All these long-winded explanations is just deflection for us. 10 years ago, no one would ever have fathomed Spurs hijacking anything related to United. But when you say take it and dish it out, I've said that it could happen. I've said that they could take him off us. What I've also stated is there is no indication yet that the player's mind has been changed. And equally, when was the last time I come and ask questions? That's my job. But when was the last, when they said give it out, I'm one of the only content creators that said there's nothing credible about Zubimendi changing his mind at this particular moment. When a week or so ago, the news came out, maybe 2 weeks ago, that Liverpool had made contact with Turkey, I didn't come on here and start saying, they're getting hijacked, it's over, Liverpool going to take him. That didn't happen. In fact, when United was seen as leading the race for the lap, but then the credible reports came out, said that his mind is changed to Man United. I didn't deny them, did I? Because the credible reports were there. So I love and respect you. You super chat a lot. But when you say I've got to give out what I dish, when have I been dishing this out? When have I come on here and made a claim that something is fact when there isn't even a credible story about it? When did I do that? When? Show me, especially in this transfer window. When have I done it? I haven't. So again, if Ornstein comes out there and says Mbeumo's changed his mind, I will change my mind on things. If Ben Jacobs said he's changing his mind, I'll change my mind on things. But that's all I'm stating is, and Staffy's done the same. We're not pressed because there's no indication the player has changed his mind yet. What it is, you're just desperate for United to get hijacked by Tottenham so you can laugh at us. But it's not happened yet. And in fact, this is what's really funny about it. It's why I'm entertaining the conversation even more. They say we get the here we go for him later on today. That means we've had a player reject Spurs twice in one summer for us based on your narrative. But you guys won't say that if we get him. You'll go straight back to it's only because you're paying him more money. So you lot are the ones who will not be objective in this scenario should and if and when we sign him. That's just my view. Welcome, Don, by the way. Thanks for joining us.
They got man.
It's mad if Mbeumo is the new John Obi Mikel. Yeah, if he signs and holds that shirt and then joins Tottenham, I'd be shocked. I would.
The streets are saying that'll be 5-0. The streets are saying it'll be 5-0, Terry, man, if Spurs get him.
It might be. But what I will say is this: is everyone bantering won't make a prediction.
I'll give you that. That's funny.
They're too scared. They're too scared. They're too scared to give a prediction. They're too scared. I'm telling you.
Lawless saying he's gonna go Spurs, isn't it?
No. Lawless, he alluded to it, but he pulled back because he no one.
It's possible.
No one is willing to say it. They're just not. They're too scared to say it.
Lewis was the same guy who said we can't pull a Mbeumo anyway. So I think everything that he says with a grain of salt.
Whoa! I never said that.
Yeah, sure, man.
But that's also the motivation, Staffy. The motivation. Everyone who got that prediction wrong, that had to bend over and take it, is now like, I can now say I was right. I can now say I was right if this happens. It's desperation because they got piped by Man United on that particular deal. That's all it is. It's all it is.
By the way, that was about Mateta, by the way, not Mbeumo. And Mateta looks like he's signing a new deal. So thank you.
Yeah, but to your point, we haven't made an approach for him. So just putting that out there.
All I'm saying,
putting it out there. No approach has been made. But United, though, Staffy, linked today. There's a big report in Italy that United have gone back in to speak to Victor Osimhen, and he's willing to join Manchester United. But what he's asking for is 13 million euro a year net. So after tax, that equates actually to not as much as people think because they always do. They just do the maths wrong. It equates around £273,000 a week gross. That's what the clubs will have to pay. Is that too much money for Victor Osimhen?
Wait, I thought it was around 10.2 million pounds a year, which equates to like 190 something. Let's just say 200K.
That's net. So that's net. That's after tax. So when you add the tax and national insurance on, what it would cost Man United is around 273,000.
I mean, he's worth it anyways. I don't mind it. But honestly, I'm at a point where I don't even know if Osimhen is gonna get a move, bro. This guy's been on a big move for 2 years now. Even Saudi found it that he's over asking too much for money. I mean, it's so hard to negotiate with that guy. He was going to Chelsea at some point. He was going to another Serie A team. He was going to Saudi, and now we're hearing United again. I'm not gonna lie, he's a little bit jarring when it comes to that. But if you want me to ask me solely as a footballer, yeah, he's worth it, because I think this guy comes into the league and he becomes a top 3 striker right away. And I'm not one of those weirdos who just sits there and just counts all the money that everyone's collecting. I'm not pocket watching and saying, oh, why are we overpaying for players? Do you want the best players in the world or not? If you want the best players in the world, then you better start paying them like they're some of the best players in the world. And Osimhen is one of the best strikers in the world. So if he's asking anywhere north of 200K a week, touching 300K a week, it's probably because he's worth it. And it's probably because he goes to any team and he scores about 20 to 30 goals in the Premier League alone. He solves a lot of our issues, not just me. I'm talking about most teams in the league. You know, we can all do with an Osimhen. Is he going to come to United? I actually don't believe it. I think United are still going to go for Gyökeres. Financially, Gyökeres is probably going to make more sense. It's going to be more economical anyways. And at the end of the day, that's Emram's guy. So I don't think we'll get Osimhen. But if Osimhen wants around that money, I think Osimhen is worth it. I don't have a problem with it. I just don't think he's coming to United.
Yeah, this guy's confused, man. Honestly, I don't know what's going on with him. Right? He got an offer from Saudi. He turned it down. They upped his money. What is it? 45 million euros he's asking for. And funny enough, I compared his wage in comparison to other players that play in Saudi right now. And Benzema earns 50 million over there, right? Mahrez earns about $1 million a week. Ronaldo earns about 3.7 million a week, right? And for me, bro, 45 million to turn that down, Osimhen right now, bro, you're trying to ask for more money than Benzema, basically. You haven't got the legacy that Benzema has. You know what I'm saying? Right? He's turned Chelsea down because of the money, but then you've got Mikel that's always talking about, you know, he wants to come Chelsea. Yeah, he loves Chelsea. You know how he talks as well, bro. Confused accent. You know what I'm saying? Right? So if he loves Chelsea that much, tell him to budge on the wages, bro. Tell him to budge on the wages, but he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. He's probably going to end up back in Galatasaray in Turkey because it seems like they pay good wages over there. Sane's managed to get a mad bag over there. Osimhen will probably get the same. But to me, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, bro, for the sake of your legacy, what's 50K less a week? Like, you're still going to be getting millions. And on top of that, bro, you're going to be getting a lot of money from bonuses. You're going to be a bigger name because you're playing in the Prem, like the best league in the world. There's so much this guy can do in the Prem, but it seems like he doesn't want to budge on the wages. That's the problem that you've got, Terry. Because for me, this is my number one. I think he would suit Chelsea best. You know what I'm saying? The way we whip in those crosses a lot and his heading in the box is fantastic, bro. You know what I mean? Right? But again, I just don't see this guy budging, man. I don't see United paying him those wages, especially with how you're moving now, cutting the wages back now. I just don't see it.
I get that. But also Chelsea have been interested in him before. And people keep saying he wants 400K. That's because people are reading, they're just timesing the net by 2. It doesn't work that way because you actually tax 40%, not 50% of your money. There's obviously a small amount that's taxed at a lower rate. You got a bit of national. It works out around 273,000 a week. I don't see why that's considered overly extortionate. When you consider that, like, what do you pay Nico Jackson a week? Genuinely?
Oh, I think he just got over 100K now. You got a new contract.
Okay, so and again, we pay about 80K a week, set to 100K a week for what we pay Rasmus. I don't even know yet. You've got Nico Jackson. It says here he's on 120K. Let's look at Man United salaries for a minute, right? Man United salaries with Hoyle. I'm an idiot. Why do I write Man United Hoyland? Let's look at the Man United salaries. I think this is important when it comes to Osimhen. I feel like a lot of us are just, I don't know, not making excuses. That's probably not the right word. What is Rasmus earning? It must be a fair amount. He's a striker. Not as much as I thought, actually, 85,000 a week. I would say, though, so I'd say that he's 2 and a bit times better than Hoyland. I think that Osimhen is doubly as good a striker as Jackson. So that's what I look at it and just think to myself, is he value for that money? Man United are paying Mason Mount 250 a week. Now, I know that's a bad signing and it wasn't made under this regime. But at the same time, if you get rid of Rashford, who's on 250 a week, and you give 275 to Osimhen, he's going to score. He's going to score goals. He's going to push us up the table. I don't see it as extortionate money for one of the best strikers in the world. If he was asking for 400, 500, 600, that's where I've got a bit of you're going into the crazy realms. But 275,000 for a man that scores lots of goals, he's of a great age, excellent availability, a dynamite in the air, good hold-up play, decent speed, great athleticism. I just look at Man United and Chelsea in this. Now, again, I know he's not a number one target, but if the reason for not getting him is that he's too much salary, if same for Chelsea, if that's the reasons that either of us turn him down.
Wait, hold on. 12 M's a year, 275. What was it? 12 M's a year is what? 275 a week?
No, so
12 M's a year after tax is 275 a week.
So
that sounds right to me.
Well, I run it through one of those websites, which is work out how much I get paid if I'm earning this, right? So I just run it through one of them. But the news article stated that he wants around 12 million, 13 million euros. I did search it earlier. I looked at this. He wants 12 million euros a year, which is 10.2. So I run it through like an online tax calculator, and the question I asked it, the question that I put through it was, where does it say here? I said, if you want, and that works out 196,000 pound per week. So 196k per week in the UK. How much is it gross? And it adds back in the national insurance and tax. And it comes in at 273,000 pounds per week.
So nearly 300k a week he has to earn basically to get that after tax.
Yeah, not nearly 300k, 375. It's 28,000 pound away from being 300k.
Yeah, so nearly 300k. He's closer to 300k than not, right?
Well, he's nearer to 250,000.
Yeah, you can look at it like that too, right?
Well, no, if we're gonna actually do maths here, if we're gonna round it up to the nearest like whole number, it's 250.
It's 250. Yeah, but 275, whatever, cool. But listen, I don't know how much Chelsea offered him. The numbers were never really put out there. Do you know what I'm saying? They've never really been put out there. But Terry, man, he needs to come to the Prem. He needs to come to the Prem, man.
Are you just defending your club here because you know you're not going to pay the salary? Is that your issue? Listen, negative about your club?
To me, I've always said, like paying Osimhen over 300k a week, right? I think is quite excessive. But when you break down those numbers, for me, I thought the club would have offered him at least 250 a week, which I think is more than reasonable, right? 250 a week for Osimhen, even 275 a week for Osimhen, I'll be happy to pay that 110%. It's only the 400k a week shouts I was hearing. That's what I was like, bro. 400k a week. Come on now, you're trying to mock it. You ain't even proved yourself in the Premier. I know you're one of the best strikers in the world right now, but there's still something you need to do in the league, Terry. Like Chelsea, the thing about us, Roman used to pay a lot of players wages that they haven't even earned yet. You know what I mean? Werner, Havertz, these guys were earning like over 200k a week, bro, over 250 a week. And cool, they won the Champions League, but you can argue that they were both flops. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where the club are trying to protect themselves. And we've already got proof, Terry, at Chelsea, where it's like, if you do well, your money will go up. You're seeing Jackson hasn't been there long. His money's gone up. Palmer hasn't been there long. His money's gone up. Caicedo's about to get a new wage. His money's going to go up, right? So even if he has to take a little bit of a cut, I've got no doubts that in this team, the way we create these chances, he will definitely be getting bonuses, number one. And the second year, bro, he will definitely get a new contract. 110%, bro. 110%.
My only issue with Osimhen is, sorry, Lawrence, my only issue with Osimhen is I don't know what his priority is. I don't know if he's just trying to get a bag. Does he want to play in Europe? Does he want to win major trophies? I don't know. That's the one thing about him. Like, he's just all over the place. No one knows. Is he going to go back to Galatasaray? Is he going to go back? Is he going to go to the Saudi League? Is he going to go to the Premier League? I don't know what his priorities in life is, which is why it makes this deal much harder and his prediction to where he's going to go much harder. Because all you're saying, Don, is great, but maybe he doesn't give a shit about winning and getting these bonuses and then earning that money. He'd rather just make that money right now,
that's what he wants,
in a lesser league and having a better life rather than maybe, I don't know. Like, if you go to Saudi as an example, you get more money. You play in a much lesser league, but you probably have a better quality in life. You live in a country with that probably has a better climate. But you go to England, you're playing premium football. That is the highest level of competitiveness you're going to get. But it might result to a little bit less money. And I don't know what his priority is. This is why this one is just super tricky and it's hard to predict.
Yeah, that's the thing though, Staffy. Like when I have these conversations with people and they're like, "Oh, well, you know, we ain't got to accept it," and I'm like, "Bro, why are we acting like we're offering this guy 20K a week? Like he's still going to be making millions. He's still going to be making millions." And like someone in the chats just said, Chelsea pay a lot of money when it comes to bonuses and that, bro. We're back in the Champions League, which means his money goes up by 20%. And like I said, he will get an increase, bro. I've got tangible evidence of players getting their money upped after a year of proving themselves at the club. You know what I mean?
Maybe he just wants guarantees. But
you have to ask. It does want guarantees.
Like I said, look, Terry was saying, like, boom, he'll bang goals, 20 goals plus goals in the Prem. All of this, like, why has no top Premier League club actually gone for him? Actually signed him, and let alone seriously gone for him. Like, you look at Arsenal, where their attention have been, like, there's been links, but I never see any genuine, like, concrete attempts. There's always links. There's something there. There's a reason why clubs have had.
Breaking news from Sky Sports. And Mbeumo still prefers Man United over Tottenham. Anyway,
fuck off.
Remember, we have to take Sky Sports seriously because they broke the earlier news. I'm just putting it out there. That news has just been sent through to me. So anyway,
I saw it too.
We had that whole hype little stinger and everything for that.
No, I've got to put it out there. By the way, people, I just got to put it out there.
Terry, cope more.
Cope.
Cry, cope more.
You know what the worst bit is?
You're delusional.
They thought their stitches were coming out. In fact, they've just been ripped right back open again. That's what's happened here. They're back to sitting. They're back to having to put their toilet paper in the fridge.
While I'm being petty, where's that pussy, that Spurs fan in the chat that was calling me names in the first segment? I forgot his name. He was there. Come back now, you pussy. Because I ignored all his comments. I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to entertain this. Call me delusional shit. Show yourself right now. That little pussy Spurs fan.
Fucking hell. Well, you got to get it over the line. You got to get the deal done, man. Get it done.
Yeah, no, we do. And my mind ain't changed. I'm only laughing at this news because it's also come from another source at Sky. The rivals that were hating on it have to take it seriously. They won't. They'll find a reason to discredit it because it was never about Tottenham. It was all about trying to shit on Man United. And this is the issue when you run on agendas. You might win some little battles, but you always lose the war with an agenda. It's as simple and because something Sam said the other day, he didn't even realize it when we were talking about Wirtz, and we'll get onto Wirtz a little bit later. He basically said, yeah, you've got to judge Wirtz on the things that he helps his team win. And I said, yeah, because all those like end of year, because someone super chatted saying that he's got to win player of the year and stuff. And I went, look, all those player awards mean nothing. It's about helping the team win trophies. And he's like, yeah, of course it is. And he forgot about the agenda he's pushed for 6 years with a certain two other players in Premier League history. Again, when you've got agendas, you always come unstuck. Just be honest. Here we go. Sky don't have any breaking news, Terry. They just regurgitate other people's. But it was okay to run on the Spurs thing earlier. Right. Anyway, sorry.
They're the same fucking people. Oh my. So why is their news earlier more relevant than this one?
I want to be fairness to Don. I've just run the numbers on another accountancy website. They have the numbers coming in nearer to 400K a week. So the one thing I would say about that, though, is that they asked me on that website what was his tax code. And obviously I didn't know, so I put a standard one in, where when I run it on a different one, because of the level of money, it could be different tax codes, which could change it. So it is running differently on different websites. So
yeah,
there is a chance it could be higher. There's definite, but I run it on two different like big accountancy firms' websites. One's come in at 275. The other one has come in at like 379. So nearest at 400.
That's the one that's a little bit more believable. And the reason why I say that is because Ornstein, Fabrizio, all these guys have been saying for weeks now, Terry, that all Prem clubs expect him to go to Saudi because the money that he's asking for, no one's willing to pay that. So it's not even just a Chelsea thing right now. It's everyone, bro. You know what I mean? So I think it's the higher figure. I'll be real. I think it's the higher figure, man.
No, it could be right. The tax code thing could be in there. Also, what you got to factor in as well is the element of image rights. Sometimes when a player's salary is mentioned, the media likes to include the image rights. The image rights are also paid separately, and they're often paid into business accounts. They're not taxed in the same way. So, for instance, your salary, a footballer, they're like normal employees, so they just get taxed. In the UK, Staffy, they're called PAYE, so you just get taxed a percentage of your salary each week or each month when you're paid. Image rights are often paid gross to the player into their business. They normally have businesses they set up that are in their own name. It'll be like, I don't know, it'll come to the UK and it'll be Osimhen Limited, and they'll get that in there. So it's not cheaper per se, but that they do their own taxation on that. So yeah, sometimes these things are broken into two separate parts. So depending on who owns the image rights, a lot of players now that don't own their own image rights. So which makes these deals a lot more complicated. You here says Chelsea's wage structure is suitable for potential talents, but not good enough for the older top players that have proven themselves that don't want a pay cut. And I want to ask you about that. I really want to ask you about that, Don. And I'm sorry we interjected what you were saying earlier, Lawless. I really apologize. But do you think Chelsea are doing enough? And I asked that question because the Lapgood signing, the Gittens deal has been agreed and will probably happen for around 40 to 45 million late in the World Club Cup or afterwards. You've walked away, though, from Mignon, and Ben Jacobs has said you may not go back for him now if the price doesn't drop, and Milan are saying they won't get the price. There's talk about like Williams's and Rodrygo's and more experienced players. Ekitke was a name who's not experienced but was a lot of money. Kuduss. But if you sign Gittens and you've got the lap with Esteval coming in that you've advocated for starting almost straight away in the first team squad, with a big money already being guaranteed for Giovanni Quenta last year, do you think you're actually going to buy more attacking experience this summer based on the fact that your roster feels pretty full? Like, what are you hearing as a Chelsea fan that we may not be?
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's still rumors that are floating about Kuduss. Rodgers is a name that's been floating about as well for a while. I think people that are losing their heads right now, bro, you need to just take time and take a touch, bro, right? It's the start of the window. The window hasn't even opened properly. We had this little window here, Terry, with, you know, the Club World Cup little window that opened, but that's got people excited now, right? What I'm really annoyed about, Terry, is how my club wants to just open their mouth and pillow talk every single second of the day, bro. Yeah? There was no need for you to put out this news about Maignan. I said to you last week, Terry, now you lot have put it out there, you have to get it done, right? This is another example now of them struggling to get deals done over the line. We struggled with Caicedo. We had to bring in Egbali to get that deal wrapped up, right? Who else? Olise was struggled to get that over the line. Osimhen was struggled to get that over the line. Maignan is now another example, bro, right? So that's my biggest issue with the club right now. With deals like this, where you think something can be done, don't put it out there. Don't put it out there until you can actually, you know, until you know that, okay, cool, this is looking like we've got the green light on it. Let's go. You know what I mean? Because it's a mess. It looks like a mess. It makes you look real amateur-like. You know what I'm saying? People don't like these sporting directors as it is. It's just annoying. You know what I'm saying, Terry? But for me, it's hard right now to say, oh, we're not moving serious, or we're not doing this, we're not doing that. Because like I said, the window's not even open, right? Neto last year, everyone would have taken him here. We didn't hear a single thing about this guy. All of a sudden, we get a here we go out of nowhere. You know what I mean? So I don't know what they're working on in the back. We've still got a lot of players to leave the club. You know what I'm saying? Felix, Vega, all these guys got a cut. Sterling, Chilwell. I don't know what the club's going to do. One thing that I'll say about Chelsea, we're very unpredictable, Terry. We are very, very unpredictable. I'm seeing now we're linked to one striker from Germany, a 6'6" guy, plays for Stuttgart or something like that. I don't see that going anywhere. You know, there's just some loose links about him. You know, Ekitke, there's still links about him as well at the minute. Let's see, innit? Let's see, man. Let's see. I don't know. I don't work in the boardroom. I wish I did, but it's just people that are getting carried away right now. Bro, the window ain't even open. Just relax. Relax, man.
I mean, it's interesting. First of all, I just noticed, by the way, Terry didn't get the white T-shirt memo. On
He actually didn't.
yeah, he didn't get the memo on that. So. But yeah, no, like
we were all wearing black last week or week before. I think we were.
Yeah, we always do that shit. People might start thinking we do that on purpose.
yeah. We in the group chat, like, what are you wearing? But yeah, you know the thing, I'm wondering if, because Chelsea, like, and again, I'm just going on reports and that's what we can go, but Chelsea usually are much more stronger to flex their financial muscles, are much more happy to overpay. It seems to be Chelsea now being a little bit more frugal, a little bit tighter in terms of trying to rein that in. I don't know whether it's because they know they've bent those rules to the maximum that they possibly can with the selling the women's team and the hotels, and they know now that there's no more loopholes they can exploit, so they're gonna have to start reining it in, and they probably know that in terms of sales. Maybe they haven't got a lot of assets that they can bank on. Like there's players you'll probably sell, but I don't know if there's names you can bank on and go, yeah, we know we're going to get at least like 30 mil for this player. Like,
oh, no, there is, there is, and that's a problem itself. There shouldn't be a bomb team every single fucking summer, bro. Like, look how many players we've got to get rid of. Lawless, Disasi's gone, Felix is gone, yeah, Chilwell's gone, Sterling's gone, Petrovic most likely gone, Dewsbury-Hall's gone. Like, this shouldn't be happening every summer like this, bro.
They're players that need to go, but that's what I'm saying. Like, can you sit there and say, okay, we're definitely getting like 25 mil for Sterling. We're definitely getting,
bro. Petrovic, we're getting probably like 30 million minimum for that guy. Guys like Felix, I know he's been a tart. He's been moved around everywhere right now, but we should be getting at least 30 million for that guy. Like, there's players right now that we're getting money back for, bro. Come on, Dewsbury Hall. We'll get money for these guys.
What are you getting for Sterling?
Bro, I'll send that guy for free. You know what I mean? You can take him for free, if anything.
Nah, man. He's on like, you paid him mad money and he was terrible. Like, I'd be surprised like how many serious clubs go for him after that Arsenal stint. That really dropped his valuation.
Didn't Graham Potter sign him when he was at Chelsea?
No, it was Tuchel.
Was it?
It was a Tuchel signing. Yeah, Tuchel signing.
Did Potter play him or no? Because if
Potter
did
play him, but it was Tuchel. He came in
as
flipping fraud. Tuchel didn't call him up to the England squad.
Yeah, that guy's a clown too, bro.
Yeah,
don't even get me started on that English national team. Wallahi, you guys make me laugh every time.
Oh, yeah, I told you, this guy's overrated. I did tell you, Tuchel's mad overrated, but let's see, innit?
I'm sure you lot were pining for him after he left.
Me, bro.
Like you.
No, not me. Definitely not. I was more pissed off with the replacement. But Tuchel at the time was bro. He was going through we was on bad form, Lawless, from the season before.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, obviously the sales side is going to be interesting. Like I said, there's links. You're trying to offer players, trying to offer us players, and this is the thing. It just seems to be. I don't know whether there is a financial limit there now at Chelsea that there wasn't before.
Well,
and now
there isn't. I mean, look, there is and there isn't. I mean, they're actually in the strongest position of any other club in England from PSR because of the selling of assets and everything else. My thing is, I know they're going to sell players, and that could open it up, but it's just about game. I am thinking game time here, and I'm thinking strategy. With Man United, this is where I see the scenarios being different. We have got holes because we are nowhere near good enough. Where you guys are in the top four, you've won a trophy, you're a good to very good team. You want to become a brilliant team. And I think to myself, like, Neto's not going anywhere, right? You're keeping him as an example. You're gonna probably get Gittens that comes through the door. You've got Tyreek George. Is he gonna go on loan, or do you think he'll stay in the first team squad next year?
Boy, it depends, man. It depends who else we bring in. Because if we bring in Gittens and then you bring in another attacker on that side, then he'll most likely get loaned out, man.
And I get that. And look, I just want to. It's not that I know anything here. I'm more asking questions because I'm just a little bit confused, I suppose. Like, if you get Gittens who comes in, you got Esteval coming in, but then you also sign experience. When is the development time for these? Because I can't imagine you're signing Gittens at 22 years old to say you're going to be a bit part player that plays in the Carabao Cup. That sounds to me like you've got Quenda coming in that also plays on the wing, Esteval that comes in that plays wide on the right. How much space genuinely is there for a 25, 26-year-old left-sided attacker, right-sided attacker, and a striker when you've got Esteval, Quenda, probably Gittens, you got Delap coming in. I'm not saying it won't work. I'm just trying to understand how that all works and how that all gets blended together.
Yeah, but you got to remember though, Terry, Mudrik's done. You know what I mean? He's done for. I don't know what's going on there. We didn't sign Sancho. So really and truly, if you're looking at the left-hand side, Tyreek George and Gittens, they should both be squad players. So I can still see another attacker coming in potentially on that side because, again, Sancho and Mudrik not being there, again, going into Champions League football, that's a harder competition, bro. That's a harder competition. We're still looking at Rodgers. If we was to bring him in, I reckon we'll probably play him off the left. That's what I think. João Pedro's another one we're probably still looking at. But again, I don't want him. I don't want another, Nkunku type player. I want specialists in his team now, bro. That's what I want. You know what I mean? So that's how I'm kind of looking at things, man. Sancho Mudrik not being there, that should mean that we're bringing in two players on that side, hopefully, man.
Do you think that's why they want to go for Ekitke as well? Because he could play across
Ekitke.
the front three.
Ekitke is another
Ekitke
guy.
over Gittens.
Would I take Ekitke over Gittens?
Yeah.
I mean, Ekitke is not really a winger, is he? He can play on that side, but Gittens more of a natural winger. But if he was to bring in Ekitke, he could potentially play on that side. You know, help Gittens a little bit more, because bringing in Gittens and making him the starter, that's a lot of pressure, man. We're still looking at Nico Williams right now, but again, us and Arsenal are both saying, you know, the salary package and that is looking a bit mad. It looks like he could be going Bayern Munich. I reckon they'll probably pay him, right? So let's see, man. Let's see right now. We'll just be linked to everyone right now. That's the thing about Chelsea, man. It was so unpredictable. We're so unpredictable, man.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know who goes down your left-hand side going into next season. Because as you said, Mudryk looks like he's done. Sancho obviously went back. So you don't really have anyone down there. And I'll be honest, if you go for Gittens only, it's a bit underwhelming. It's so underwhelming. Because it's another season where you're just working on developing another player rather than having someone who's a little bit more, all right, ready to take over that side and just make you actually a better team. Because you guys, as you said, you'll be in Champions League next season. So it's just like it's a bit underwhelming, which is I'm not gonna lie, maybe this is why you guys might be back for Garnacho. I know there's a little bit of banter in it, and you guys don't want him. No. Deadass, I think that might be a reason.
No, Garnacho is another squad player. He's not a guy that you bring in to be starting for you, bro. That's a squad player, like I keep telling you.
And that's your opinion.
No, you view him like that, but the club might not.
You view him that way, but the fact is that your club have. I mean, I'm only going by the reports here. So, by the way, I said 22. But I meant Gittens 21. Sorry, he'll go into next season at 21. His birthday's early August. So, again, a 21-year-old being bought for around 40 million. He might be willing to be a backup player, but I don't know. I mean, Delap, for instance, you know, he's been told he's not a backup. He's been given the number 9 shirt. I don't think you saw. I know you got him cheap because of the buyout clause, but I don't think you give a man the number 9 and then suddenly go, yeah, but we're now going to drop 100 million on an even better striker you're sitting on the bench. If you do, that does seem like a lot of Chelsea fans in the chat saying that seems messy. Does that make sense? It almost feels, and it's the PR and what you say to the media. You can't be briefing the press that he's the main guy and then sign someone else who's also the main guy. That doesn't create that's a horrible environment to throw on Maresca if it's true. But it's just I don't know. I'm a bit like what you say. I don't get what Chelsea are doing at the minute. It doesn't mean it isn't going to work. I want to be very clear in saying that. It just feels there's so many players coming in still, and you're linked to others. I don't quite see how you fit them all in and give them all enough game time. That's all that's going through my head, if that makes sense. Because when you're signing them all, what I'm reading the articles, I'm reading what the journalists close to your club say. This is an important first-team member. They've liked him for years. They want him to come in, have a big impact. But then you've got some of the fans saying they're too young. You've got others saying, don't worry about them being young. They're back up. But then I'm like, that's not what the media is saying. And they're being briefed by the club. Do you get where I'm coming from? So
I hear what you're saying, but
I'm just a bit confused.
There's many domino effects that can happen here, man. It's been mentioned a couple of times already that we might be open to selling Jackson. If someone comes in with a serious offer for this guy, he could leave. That ultimately means that it's just Delap by himself. So then you have to bring someone in. Mark Gill, he might be going to Ipswich. I don't know what's happening on that side of things, bro. But again, it's people that Reaper in the chat right now are just going crazy. But you're just gonna look silly, bro. Because come the end of the window, if they bring in these guys that we've all been screaming about, Kuduss, Rodgers, and all these sort of players, we're gonna say then, yeah. But guys like this, they want us. You had Reaper in the chat just now saying, "I hope we get Garnacho. I hope we get Garnacho." That's what he wants. You know what I'm saying? That's a weird mentality to have, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think you will pay the money that you need to pay for Kuduss if we reject these players that you're trying to part exchange?
Boy, it's hard to say, man. Chelsea, obviously, they rate Kuduss. We had a contract accepted last summer, but we lowballed Ajax. That's why we didn't get him, Lawless. So I don't know.
You mean like we've had him? He's been 2 seasons at West Ham now.
Well, 2 summers ago then. 2 summers ago then, yeah. Was that 2 summers ago now? He's been at West Ham for one full season, bro. It was last year.
What do you mean? No. He's
2 years. 2 years. Right, yeah, 2 years. Yeah, 2 seasons. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's 2 seasons. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how far up we're gonna go for Kuduss. I know he's on the list for sure. But again, like I keep saying to you, lot, man, we're just mad unpredictable, man. We've got the money right now, so I don't want us to be penny pinching. That's what I don't want. I don't want us to be completely penny pinching. Yeah. We've got Club World Cup money. You've got Champions League money. You know, you've got fucking top 4 money. You've got all this money now coming in. You've got PSR 300 million plus in the green zone. What's going on?
The thing is, Don, this window is so crucial because it could be the difference between, you know, you potentially getting overtaken for Champions League or you even like having an excellent window. If you really go for it, it's potential to possibly win the league. Like, I put you like if you have an excellent window, I put you as a team that can win the league. Like you're in the title race next season. So you got to be serious about it. You got to be ruthless in this window because I think it's kind of open at the moment. Like Liverpool
100%.
obviously going to be hard to take over, but you showed last season, and like you've like to point out, the chance creation, all of that. You improve and fill those gaps, then maybe you can stay up there and get over the line.
That's the thing. You see all these minions in the chat right now, bro. They don't understand how to break things down and have critical thinking and explain things. They don't understand these things, bro. Because when you ask me my take, Lawless, I tell you multiple times, Chelsea need to bring in 3 or 4 guys that come into the lineup straight away that are specialists in their position. They won't tell you any of that, bro. But when I explain what the owners are doing and what's going on with the club, it's, I'm backing them. No. I'm explaining because I understand what they're trying to do. But people like you don't seem to understand because you've got no critical thinking. You know what I'm saying? So like I've said many times, I want starters to come into this team. Yeah, I want a starting striker. Obviously, you've got Delap right now who starts for us. Cool. But if we sell Jackson, we need someone else, of course. Right? I want a starting left winger. Yeah. I want a starting centre back to play next to Colwell, bro. Right? We need backup for Cucurella. You know what I mean? All these things right now. Midfield is the only position that Chelsea are sorted. And people are forgetting as well. We've got new signings coming in this summer already. Asugo is now here. Sarr is now here. Santos is now here. Esteval is now here. Right? So ideally, yes, I wanted to see a little bit of business done in the Club World Cup window. Cool. But brother, the window ain't even open yet. You know what I'm saying? Just take a touch and relax. Yeah? Relax, bro.
Speaking of relaxing, some more breaking news. According to the Mirror, Tottenham have just launched a £70 million bid to Brentford for Brian Mbeumo.
It's hotting up now.
And we say
I'm telling you, Terry, if you get finessed after all that talking that you've been doing,
but it's not about the talking. This is exactly what I said, though. If you read the article, what the article says is this here. It says Spurs have launched a £70 million bid to hijack United's move for Brentford. The North London club have made an offer worth 65 million plus 5. Blah, 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 blah. Talk about the player. Then it says United have already made 2 bids for Mbeumo, which is different to all the other outlets. Say we've only had 1 official bid yet. It says the most recent, which was 60 million package, 55 plus 60. He says here that Brentford refused to accept it, having opened the door for Spurs to come in and make a bid. As it stands, it's unlikely United will pay more for Mbeumo than the 60 million package they have already splashed out on their marquee signing Cunha. Now, what did I say earlier? What is more likely in this regard is if Man United refuse to pay a price and walk away. That I'm totally acceptable with. Now, first of all, some people are saying it's the Mirror. It's fine. But I'm open to that. I'm not going to disregard it. This could be true, but Lawless, isn't this exactly what I said is the more likely option, that Brentford pushed the price up? By the way, they told us they wanted similar amount of money to Cunha. They suddenly say we want 70 plus and we say, no, we're walking away. That's not Man United being hijacked by Tottenham. That's us walking away from the player. What the article does not state in any part is that the player has turned down Man United for Tottenham. So for me, that's the difference here. The idea, if the player changes,
at the end of the day, you're not getting the player they are.
No, and yes, but it's not. That is a different conversation. Critical thinking, like Don just said. I'd be gutted not to get him, and then we have that conversation about is he worth the 70 million? I would personally go as high as 70 million for him because I think he's fantastic. But there is a fundamental difference between us walking away from the price and the player changing his mind, and is what's very, very important to remember here.
That's
all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And it is from the Mirror, and I don't know. I mean, there's nothing yet from any of the other, from Jacobs, Fabrizio, Ornstein. But let's see if it comes out. And I mean, listen, we've seen it before. By the way, this deal might drag now because this is also a dichotomy to think about. The player says, "I'm not joining you, Tottenham." Because very rarely the clubs, this is why the bid may not have gone in. Clubs rarely bid until they've agreed personal terms with players. We all agree on that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's
and they're not claiming he's done that. So Spurs could bid 70 million. And if the player says, well, I'm just not leaving, I'm not going Spurs, I want to go Man United, then it becomes a long waiting game. So
if he does go to Spurs, if they bid the money, right, and they outbid you, and so Brentford accepts Spurs' deal when he agrees to go to Spurs, then it defeats the narrative of I only want Man United. I'm not interested in Spurs. Like he's
no,
open to go with it.
no, but if Man United walk away, then there is no Man United option, so that becomes irrelevant.
Well, yeah, but he can still choose to not go to Spurs. Like at the end of the day.
He wants to leave Brentford though.
Yeah, that's it.
No one has said that he'll. No credible Man United fan has said if he doesn't come to us, we'll stay at Brentford. That claim hasn't been made. The point is that United do have to get a deal done with Brentford. That's more my concern, is us and Brentford negotiations. I'm not worried about the player element yet, because again, there's still nobody that said. In fact, the only report out today is that he's shown no encouragement to Spurs, according to Ben Jacobs, and Sky have said that he still prefers Man United. So, yeah, look, it's an interesting one. And Steve will say it's copium. But again, that's just your banter. And I ain't falling for your little tricks, my old pedigree chum. And same as Rax. What copium? Again, if we don't get him, I'll be gutted. And I'll open up and say that. But at the end of the day, if this story is true, that Spurs are just willing to pay above the valuation of the player. By the way, I want to see everyone get as angry with Tottenham that kicked off with us last week. They said we're distorting the transfer market by paying more than his 50 million valuation. What do you want to put the odds on, Staffy? We go 10-1 that people won't say the same thing about Spurs if they pay 70 million for him?
They won't. Because if you see the initial reaction was, haha, United getting hijacked. I'll be honest, if they're gonna put 70 million on the table, fair play to them. Because I don't think he's worth 70 mil. But if you're gonna put 70 mil, go ahead and get him. And I don't want us to overbid 70 mil. I think it's way too much anyways. I like Mbeumo. I'll be annoyed to the idea that we didn't get Mbeumo, but I'll remember that, well, another club massively bid over him. I mean, if he's worth, in my opinion, he's worth 60 at most. To go 70 and above, and then there's incentives and all that, it's just a misuse of money, I'll be honest. We can do a lot more with 70 million than that. I got to remember at the end of the day, we have more than just one issue at this team, and we need to rebuild the whole squad. I can't be putting 70 plus million on Mbeumo. So if Spurs do it, fair play to them. At the end of the day, he wanted us, but Brentford is going to accept the most money anyways, which is the Spurs bid.
I hear that, but this is what this guy says. Mbeumo hasn't said anything. I love Man United only. It's only journos talk. I haven't seen anything in an interview. But you also haven't seen Spurs confirm they've made a bid. Or Spurs, and you haven't seen Thomas Frank come out and say, yeah, I've been on the phone to him. This is the issue with what you're saying, bro, is people are picking and choosing. I've put this news out. This could be a real bid. I'm taking it seriously. I've said that. I take them all seriously. The problem I have with some of you guys that are coming at us and saying it's cope is you're picking and choosing when to believe the media. You're believing everything the media says that could be negative for United, and you're disregarding everything the media says that is positive for United. The only people here coping are the individuals being hypocrites, and that isn't Staffy or me on this particular occasion. You can't say there's been nothing said by Mbeumo, so you don't believe it, but nothing said by Thomas Frank, and therefore you must believe there's been a bid. Which of the two is it? It can't be a combination of the both, in my personal opinion. Sorry, we were talking Chelsea, but we keep getting this Mbeumo news is going through. Just going to happen now. I've said that. We're going to get Here We Go to Tottenham in a minute, aren't we?
We might as well just stay live until he gets to Here We Go.
Stay live until
Marathon.
that deal is announced. Let's go to some of the super chats here. Darren Lewis is far more credible than Sky Sports. That is a good point. But equally, Tom, and the bid could be real, like I've said. At the same time, he hasn't said the player has changed his mind yet. He hasn't said personal terms have been agreed. You know, this is. I'm not saying it isn't true. What will happen though? Spurs don't get him now. I guarantee you. So bookmark this, Tom. Bookmark this. Timestamp it, people. What you will get from Spurs fans and the Spurs media if they don't get him is this report from Darius Lewis wasn't true. It was a verbal offer via an intermediary of what we might potentially offer should the player change his mind. That is what will be said if it doesn't go through. Personally. I think it's a big year for Neto and Noni. Whoever does not improve this year will leave for Quenda. I think windows just started, so no need to panic.
There's some sensible fans in my fan base, bro.
There are a lot of Chelsea fans melting down, Don, aren't there? There are a lot of Chelsea fans online going mental.
I'm like, you know, just calm down, bro. Like, calm down. You act like this every single summer, right? I never judge a single window for any team, Terry, until the end of the summer, bro. right? That's why we say to you, predictions, I only predict come the end of the window because I've got to see what my club's doing.
It's because Liverpool and Man City are making moves, isn't it? Like when you see other clubs making moves, even though it's early, you're like, damn, where are we getting left behind. That's how it feels.
Yeah, of course. But end of the day, like I said, you don't know what's around the corner. Because you could be angry today, crashing on a club today. Then what if next week they go and sign a player that you want or a player that you like? What then? So all the anger that you had last week, you're just gonna look stupid, bro. That's why I just take time and calm down, bro, and wait till the end.
Yeah.
No, I hear you there. Pravash here says that since Don is here and has been keeping his Rice agenda, I found some interesting stats from Data Mob, which Don uses for the top 7 leagues. Highest XA created, first is Palmer, second is Bruno, third is Declan Rice. So
I mean, if you go check Declan Rice's heat map, first of all, you'll see that the heat map is quite hot next to the corner flag, right? A lot of his assists are from that side.
I knew
That's
it.
number one. That's number one. You know what I'm saying? And number two, Enzo Fernandez has created more chances from open play than any other midfielder in the Prem this year, bro. You know what I mean? But big yourself up anyway, man. Rice is a creative genius. I'm glad that you agree with me.
From set pieces.
It is true, to be fair.
It's true, bro. Like, what we're doing it.
Which, by the way, it's a good thing because I think he's one of the best set piece takers in the league. But it is true. Most of his assists come from the corners.
This is why stats can be misleading. You just sit there with stats, and you know what I mean. Don't tell the full.
Well, they're not misleading. You just gotta be. I mean, you gotta know how to use them. You know, it's like
no, but yeah, you can know how to use them to mislead, and that's what he's done here. So he's tried to paint a picture as if he's on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Creating all these chances, and do you know what I mean? Pinging balls around, all of that sort of thing, when it's coming a lot from his corners and that. You know what I mean? So this is why you can't just go.
No, but Lawless, that's what I mean, bro. He's done himself. This Spandan guy, big yourself up for the super chat. You have done yourself, my friend.
Got him.
Does this mean that Son is not in Thomas Frank's plans? Well, there is a report that I was reading just while we were live, actually. I don't know much about the source. It's from some German Turkish outlet that has said that Heung-min Son is expected to leave Tottenham this summer and has an offer on the table from Fenerbahce worth 12 million a year. I think someone like Son going to Fenerbahce at this stage of his career would be immense for him. I think he'd do amazingly somewhere like that.
You know, yes, people think I'm capping about the heat map. I'm telling you, Terry, go check the heat map right now. You will see by the corner it's red.
Yeah, well, no, I looked at his heat map when you said it. So, in fairness,
share it on the screen so the people.
Yeah. One sec.
You're having too much fun with this. I don't like that.
It isn't just red on the on the corner flag, but it is hot on the corner. It is red. There's loads of red in the middle as well. Let's be fair, but it's not just on the corner flags. It's not just on the corner flags. But it is, of course, it is red on them because he doesn't. He's
come back as well. Spandam's come back.
Come back. Hang on. He says, I knew Don would have that answer. Like Bruno isn't taking set pieces, like Palmer's GA doesn't include penalties, like Rice hasn't given open play assists. He gave 2 in one game on top of your head.
Bro, if he's a creative maestro on your head, that's all that matters, bro. Big yourself up, man.
In terms of the Premier League, according to WhoScored.com, Bruno Fernandes leads the way, 2.5 key passes per game. Cole Palmer, 2.4. Salah, 2.3. Saka, 2.3. Enzo Fernandez, 2.2. Odegaard, 2.1. I don't even feel real considering how much we say Odegaard don't create. KDB,
Odegaard's created more chances than this guy. He's nowhere, bro. Because in open play, you know what time it is in open play with that guy.
Let's have let's see where Rice comes in on it. Rice comes in number 18 on 1.7 per game. But you know what though, for a deeper midfield, I mean, when you can, in fairness though, I mean, look, I mean, it's not bad numbers when you consider, you think about the other midfielders that are around him in that, like Son's on 1.3, he's an attacker, Damsgaard 1.7, Tillemans 1.7, Eze 1.7, Cunha 1.7. So I mean, 1.7 is not bad key passes per game. Is it?
They've got Xhaka, Kerry. That's when like he's got one of the most progressive passes in Europe. That's what they had before, bro. Now they've got a pickup truck. Big him up anyway, man. Big himself up.
Yeah, I mean, but he's key passes per game is still pretty good, right?
Boy, it's not as good as the other players that you mentioned that are top 5. Clearly not.
No. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect him to create as much as Bruno Fernandes or those guys personally.
That's the point that this guy was making. You're trying to tell us these creative stats like we don't see him whipping in mad corners, bro.
I like Declan Rice, but if we're gonna sit here and try to pretend that he's a creative wizard,
No. I agree. I wouldn't say he's a creative wizard at all.
I
think that's what Fandom is trying
to say that. Like, he really isn't, bro. I'll be honest.
He's not.
All the things that compliment him for me, this just isn't it. Oh my god, he's back.
He's with a green now.
He says if you can be deluded enough to believe Chelsea have a better midfield based on stats, then anything can be true based on stats.
Broski, you just cooked yourself. Big yourself up.
I'm not gonna lie, Spending, you brought the stat and he just responded to it.
The thing is, Spended, what I would go, so I'd look at it more the other way. Like, Enzo definitely creates more opportunities in games, there's no doubt. But that's not even Rice's speciality. You look at it, for instance, how many times in a game he's dribbled past like he gets dribbled past more than double the amount of times per game that Declan Rice does. That is more. If I was going to do a Rice Enzo thing, I'd be picking on those areas because that's where Rice specializes. I think what adds to Rice's game is he can score a goal and he's a dynamite from set pieces. I wouldn't sort of focus the debate on the creative side. I would just accept that. But then the other element that's important to both their games, because neither of them are number 10s, would be the defensive side, the interception side, the tackling side. And that is where Rice, like, for me, is generally speaking better than him. And the statistics back that up in a lot of areas. I wouldn't get into a debate. Again, I'm just saying, if I'm having a debate about Rice versus Enzo, I'm accepting that Enzo is better with the key passes and the creativity element. What I would say is that you've got a specialism from set pieces, especially creativity. What I would focus on is the other area of the game that Rice is better than him in. I don't see why Arsenal fans focus on the bit that are the argument they can't win.
Basically, Gallagher. The first thing you're going to do is what he does off the ball.
Well, no, it's not what he does off the ball. Hang on, it's not off the ball. Not getting dribbled past, winning tackles, making interceptions. That's an on the ball statistic. That's, you know, if we imagine your back-to-back winning title Chelsea team didn't have players like John Terry and Makelele that were brilliant at not being dribbled past and not winning the ball, you wouldn't have won the league. They're very important.
That's not on the ball. That's off the ball, bro. That's winning the ball back off the ball.
Winning the ball back is an on the ball stat. You're winning it back. You're winning the ball. You're winning a duel. That's an on the ball stat.
Yeah, but bro, to tackle someone, you haven't got the ball first in order to get it, bro. You've got,
yes, but you have to touch the ball to
it's how you work. It's how you work off the ball.
You have to touch. I get what you mean by on the ball in terms of a passing stat, right? But for me, it's still a statistic related to your ability with a football. Winning a tackle is a skill in football. Winning it cleanly, reading the game and intercepting the ball is still part of football. Reading the game and intercepting a ball is every bit as important in that role for a holding midfielder as it is for your vision to see where a pass should go. Because if you've got the vision to make a tackle, but you haven't got the physicality or timing of a tackle to make it, it's irrelevant having the vision if you can't execute it.
Rice off the ball is better than Enzo. That's not even a debate for me, right? But
I agree.
My issue with when people try to talk about Enzo off the ball is they talk about this guy like he's useless off the ball. When in reality, this guy's won the ball back more times than Rice in the final third, bro. You know what I mean? There's certain defensive metrics he's got over Rice. You know what I mean? Yeah, Rice off the ball is elite. Like I keep saying, he's elite.
Defensive stats are also interesting as well, because what you have to look at sometimes is if you look at a lot of the defenders are in the bottom half of the table, you'll find that they win the ball back a lot more than defenders in the top half. That's because their teams are attacked a little bit more. Does that make sense? So you have to be, it's like the goalkeepers with the highest amount of saves in the league are nearly always the teams in the bottom 5 or 6. Doesn't make them better than Alisson because they've saved more shots on goal. I think it's important to delve into them. But I'm just stating, I don't know why Arsenal fans try and do our guy's more creative than your guy. He isn't. But what he is clear of is the defensive side of things, as you've said. And I would focus more on that because that's where Rice is at his absolute best. But what he can do is deliver a brilliant corner, which is good.
How can you finish the statement by saying that he's amazing off the ball and he can deliver a fantastic corner? You didn't say nothing about this guy.
But it's not about that. Like I don't see it as an insult because I'm not obsessed with football. Like one of my favorite footballers growing up was Owen Hargreaves. What he did off the ball, Claude Makelele. What they did off the ball, Paul Ince. What he did off the ball. You know what I mean? Like these players. Like most you think about defenders that forget the modern day defender that plays out from the back. The defenders I grew up watching You love John Terry. It's not about what he did on the ball. It's about what he did off it. There's certain players.
I love what he did on the ball and off the ball, bro. I love what he did.
He was good on the ball, but it was more again. If he was that good on the ball, but he won't. If he's off the ball levels weren't world class, nobody would be that worried. He was very good on the ball, to be fair. But there are certain roles in midfield and certain roles at the back where you're off the ball. We'll use your phrases. I still think there's an on the ball. I get what you mean by on the ball in terms of playing it. Your off the ball elements of the game are every bit as important. And for a team sport, I don't see why we slag them off. I don't get it.
No, bro. You need a balance of both. If you're box to box, like what Enzo is for us as an 8, you need to be able to do both, bro. And like I said, there's been many games where he's won the ball back even more times than Caicedo, bro. But people act like he just gets run past. He's not a Declan Rice off the ball, but he's not useless off the ball. Like he's actually decent off the ball. You know what I mean? And even this year, people like, yo, Enzo, bro, has Enzo been taking peds as well? The way he's been running off the ball, bro. You know what I mean?
Could be true.
He looks like he's trimmed down as well. When you see that guy in person, in comparison to last year, he's trimmed down a lot. Man.
Progressive passing, forward passing is there. But again, see, Declan Rice, if you look at the stats, will have more forward passes than Enzo. Why? Because he starts in a deeper position more. So there's more opportunity to pass. When you're further back, you pass the ball forward more. When you're further up the pitch, there's less opportunity to pass it forward. You know, you've always got to kind of look at these stats. You know, you should Declan Rice should have more carries in him as well, as in the amount per distance, because he's starting in a slightly deeper position. So I think all these things are important to sort of look at, really. But there we go. Great super chats. Enjoy the debate on that one. I'm not this high on stats. I believe Rice is better at breaking up play than playmaking. It's just the way Don has arguing for weeks.
I mean, you're making my point for me, because I want Rice. If it was up to me and I had Rice in my team, I'd want him to play in a pivot. I literally wanted Declan Rice to join Chelsea to play next to Jorginho, bro. Right? That's his best position for me. But when you're playing this guy in an advanced position and the first thing you want to talk about is his corners and off the ball work, that ain't it for me, bro. You hear this? I used to hear this about Gallagher, or off the ball. You hear this about Szoboszlai, off the ball. How about what you can bring me on the ball as an attacking midfielder? That's what I want to be hearing when you're talking about that.
I hear that. If Vitinha didn't win the UCL, Arsenal fans would still have, you believe Rice is better than Vitinha, when in reality Vitinha is levels above Rice, not top 10 mids in Europe.
How did we get dragged into a Rice conversation?
Yeah,
there's
man.
no way we're doing this right now.
It triggers too many.
One day.
It was
I don't give a fuck about Rice and his progressive path. How did this even happen? This was not on the agenda today.
This wasn't.
All because of one super chat, and everyone else rattled. They want to talk about.
Did you not see that pivot, by the way, for England the other day? Sorry.
Bro, don't even get me started, bro. Because if I start cooking this nation of yours, bro, the best league in the world, and you produced to me Conor Gallagher and Rice in a pivot.
Do you know what I loved about England losing, though, is that none of it, for the first time in a long while, none of it could be blamed on a Man United player. I fucking love that. It was so beautiful. You know, England's two best players are the last two of England's best players are sitting on a beach somewhere. You're like, yeah, cheers Maguire and cheers Cobby. Well done. Big fan of all four. Thank you very much, Mr. Iguana. This here says. Sorry, we've done that super chat.
What if this actually Mr. Iguana from the wrestler? That would be a good flex.
Might be him. So Chelsea would rather pay 25 million for Sanchez than Mike Mignon.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I haven't heard from you about this, Don. Jorgensen was 24 mil, by the way.
Yeah. Listen, Chelsea valued him to be what, like 15 million euros. There's a little bit of a gap there. Apparently, he was offered to us by Milan. You know, I thought that would have got wrapped up, man, because we've got a good relationship with these guys. But obviously, you know, Chelsea don't want to pay that Club World Cup tax. For me, 4 million difference, I would have just paid it. Again, Reaper, if you're listening, I would have fucking paid that money, bro. But I don't know, innit? This is what the club are doing right now. We might go back in for him after. Matt Law said that he heard a few rumors that it's going to be late August that we go in for him, like before it came out recently. So you never know, because Ben Jacobs is saying other things. Matt Law saying one thing. Jacob Steinberg saying we could go in as well. Let's see what happens with him, man. I think we'll probably go back in for him. But they've got to sell him anyway. They've got to sell him, man, because if they leave him till January, that's less money they're getting for this guy. If they wait till the summer, he ain't going to sign a new contract, so we can get a pre-contract signed in January to get him in the summer. They have to sell this guy this summer, man. I think they'll budge. eventually.
This here says, Staffy, now momentum is on tonight's game 4 in the NBL finals for both teams. Also, sorry, how now? Yeah, sorry, yeah. For also, Terry, how's your diet going? Because this has been my biggest downfall over the last 3 years. Mine's all right, mate. It's stable. I've not been well this week, so I've not really done too much. But I've got laryngitis. But other than that, it's all good, my friend. But thank you for the super chat, brother. I hope you're doing well after graduating uni or college, as you say in the States. My earlier comment came a bit late. I had to dry up my keyboard from Tom's salty tears from yesterday.
Justice for Tom, man. I can't believe people actually piled up on Tom yesterday. He was so justified. The guy learned Spanish quicker than he learned defending, and you guys don't think he was justified for saying that.
Yeah, well, we didn't. We were just winding him up. That's just good old British banter.
Yeah, sure. I always wind him up. I like a little bit of Tom tears, but I'm not gonna lie. That shit was crazy. Learning Spanish. What's the name of the UFC fighter? The Scouts guy, Paddy something.
Paddy.
Yeah.
Bro, someone posted it yesterday. He actually came out a few months ago and said that he's heard that Trent's been learning Spanish for about 18 months now. That was before anything got confirmed.
If that's what he's done after 18 months, he's thick as shit. That was some of the worst Spanish I've ever heard in my life. It was literally reading a note. He could have rehearsed that. I don't think he speaks fluent Spanish personally. I didn't sound fluent to me. I could hear scousing the whole thing.
You think he was reading?
Well, maybe not reading, but he rehearsed it. Like most players when they join, like Gareth Bale spoke Spanish when he first came in. I don't know. I don't know.
I see AGT, who I know is a Liverpool fan, fluent in Spanish, and he said that was very good Spanish. Like, and he thinks
that sounds good.
Fine to me. I've heard it worse, bro.
No, 100%, bro. That sounded like good Spanish.
He said he's been learning that.
Like the Kevin Hart clip where he was talking Spanish, like, but he was doing it on purpose.
You never see Gareth Bale coming out like
Spanish.
This one here, Terry, like the dialect, the way it was just coming off, like, you know what I mean? Maybe being Scouse helps him. Maybe being Scouse helps him, man.
maybe. I just listen. I get why they're angry at him. But it is getting to a point now where it's becoming really, it's becoming a bit much. It's like he's gone. You've got a bit of money for him. But I think Trent's going to have this for the rest of his life now. Like, remember, one of the reasons that Raheem Sterling is one of the most hated men in this country is because of the onslaught when he first left Liverpool. It never went away. Like, I think Trent has just got I get why they're angry, but this will be the rest of his life. He will get
his interview as well, where he said I think it was a press conference, and he's going, "Yeah, I've been looking forward to this for a long time now." And he goes, "Oh, by the way, by a long time, I mean 2 weeks. Not yeah." And he just had to clarify.
I get it. The only thing I would say, and I don't think any Liverpool journalist is ever going to seek for this answer to come out, because if the answer backs them, they still think he strung them along, and this could very well be true. But someone's got to document it. And maybe it's been documented. I've been asking people to send me the links and it hasn't come through yet. Where is it documented that he strung them along versus saying, I just don't want to sign a new deal? I think that's the crux of this, isn't it?
Well,
is it?
Yeah,
because if he turns around and said, look, I'm just not signing a new deal, and they refused to sell him, they just kept him, and they kept trying to convince him, how much has he done wrong? Versus if he kept on delaying the conversations and lying that he was going to sign and didn't, like, surely they should surely that's the information that should be getting sought here. I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading it, but I think it suits a lot of people for that to remain ambiguous, so they can just say what they want. Maybe just playing.
Listen, man, all I know is all summer they threw him a party and they called it Summer of '66. And on the first day, he changed his number to 12. He changed his name and Well, like, bro, I feel bad for Tom.
Yeah,
Tom, I
stand with you, Tom. Liverpool fans being pissed. Like, you got to.
But this is the thing. I mean, a lot of people are saying
he changed his name, he changed his number. This is the questions I want to ask. I get they're angry. They're right. They've got every right to be angry. I'm not telling Liverpool fans how to feel before anyone gets angry. But if everyone in Liverpool has known he's been learning Spanish for years, why didn't the club sell him? That means he's refused to sign a new deal. Why didn't they sell him and get the money then?
Well, I guess
that's the only thing I don't understand. But then put him on the market.
They're probably hoping that he'll change his mind.
So, but that's where I've got sympathy. If you turn around and I say, look, bro, not that we do this at the Terrace, but I want to sign you up for another 12 months on straight facts, and you're like, I don't want to sign, and I hear you learning to speak fucking Spanish because you're going to go and work for a Spanish TV show. And I'm hearing that you're doing it. And Cage like, Terry, man, you got to find a replacement for Don because he's going to work for fucking El Dorado TV. You've got to fucking find a replacement. And I'm like, no, he might change his mind. He might change his mind. Then when you don't change your mind and you're off on Spanish TV speaking fluent Spanish, and the Football Terrace audience like, look at that snake. He was planning to do this to Terry.
Yeah.
If that's different from you saying to me, Terry, I'm not going to leave. I will sign the deal. I just don't want to sign it yet. And then on your last week going, actually, I'm leaving. And I'm not saying he hasn't snaked him. What I want is a journalist close to Liverpool to publish this story that has those accusations in that says on these dates at this time of the year in 2003 and 2004 and then in 2005, he consistently lied, said he was going to sign or delayed meetings just to play it down. And at the same time, no one knew that he was having these lessons and no one saw it coming. Then it's like, well, you've got the guy, bang to rights. That's rat behavior. But if it turns out, this is what I'm saying, I want to ask Liverpool fans this question. If it turns out there's an investigation done and he told the club 2 years ago, I told him I didn't want to stay beyond this contract and I wouldn't sign a new deal. They had the option to sell me, but they refused to. Surely you can't call that snake behavior. And I just want as an outsider, it's not my club, but as an outsider, I just want the clarity around that personally. But it seems that asking, this is where I get a bit weird out. You know, like when people ask for clarity, and you know, you see this a lot in the political world. You see it in the social world a lot. When you ask someone to explain why is this offensive, or what does this mean, or why would you do it that way? You know, people get really angry about the question. It makes you think, oh, what are you hiding? That's all I'm saying.
It's like when Poch, they ask Poch, oh yeah, there's a few things going on right now that you're to blame for the injuries at the club right now, and the way the guy switched. I've never seen him so animated because usually he's normally quite calm and that.
Yeah,
I'm just bust the switch that day.
I agree with Jamie Carragher. He's a rat. He's a rat and everything else. But surely you would want the truth. I just want the truth. Liverpool fans can think what they want. I just want the truth to come out. The one thing I would say though, in opposite, is Trent ain't said nothing either. So maybe that is a mission of guilt. Maybe that he hasn't come out and said, well, I told him 2 years ago I was leaving. And I wouldn't sign a new deal. So if he says nothing, it works in both directions. I just want someone to confirm it, just so that we have a little bit of,
I'm sure there was some teasing. Like I remember there was a period last season, the season just gone, where they felt like he could sign. Like Liverpool fans were optimistic, and there was positive noises coming out.
But is this the journalist saving face? And friends, Trent, are the journalists going, yeah, we did those articles saying it was hope. Because he told us there was hope. He strung us along as well. Are the journalists covering their asses here by saying he strung us along, knowing that at this point, that's what certain Liverpool fans want to hear? I'm just saying.
Well, but these are the same journalists.
I'm playing devil's advocate. They're
the same journalists that we believe that said Mbeumo only wants Man United. So,
why does everyone... Well, they're not the same, but yeah, I hear you. And they could be right. They could be lying. But yeah, you guys are skeptical of that. So why are you not skeptical of this? I get you. Why does everyone always say Osimhen is guaranteed 20 league goals in 5 years across Serie A and League A? He only got 20 plus goals once. Scored 20 plus goals this season as well.
That's a lie. He scored 20 plus. Well, you're not lying. The super chat. Sorry. He scored 20 plus 3 of his last 2 years, including one where they won the Serie A title. And the season after, he scored only like 15, but to be fair, he was injured. He only played like 20-something games.
Yeah, so in his career,
if he played a full season again, he would have gotten those 5 goals.
Yeah. So in his career, since he scored his first goal, first season 20 goals, second season 18, then 10, then 18, then 31, then 17, and 37. So he's hit 20 or more on 3 occasions in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So 50% of his career, he has got 20 goals plus, hit 37 and 31. And
is that league goals, yeah?
All goals. In terms of league goals.
League. I think he's talking about just league.
Okay, league goals. This season 26, last season 15, year before that 26, year before that 14, year before that 10 and 13 and 12. So decent returns on there. 2 of those seasons. So, 2 of those seasons he has hit over 20 goals. I believe in a functional team, and that's that Napoli team, by the way, 23-24, that team just fell apart overall, and he's still got 15 league goals in it. Only played 25 games in that season as well. So he was on track to get that amount of goals. I think he's as close to a guarantee as you can get, my friend. Mbeumo has a better chance to go to the World Cup looking good in a bad Man United team than looking okay at Tottenham, going out early in the Champions League, etc. I don't know.
Wait, what? Let me read that again. Mbeumo has a better chance to go to the World Cup. First of all, he's going to the World Cup anyways because he plays for Cameroon. Looking good in a bed, then looking good at an okay. First of all,
he's saying if he's
Tottenham finished 17th. Wait, one second, Lawless. If we're a bad team, how the fuck is Spurs an okay team? We finished 15th, they finished 17th. We're both shit. Let's just be honest. What does that have to do with him going to the World Cup anyways?
No, he's not said. He's saying like he can look good in a bad Man United team than looking okay at Tottenham. He didn't say Tottenham's an okay team. He said he can look good at Man United while they're bad and getting the World Cup. Whereas if he looks just okay at Tottenham, he's got less of a chance of getting in the World Cup. So that's what I'm saying.
This is one of the worst superchats I've ever heard. It's just
I mean, if he played for like I don't know, maybe England or something, cool, fairs. But he plays
for Cameroon, bro. He's gonna be there anyways.
He's one of their star players, bro. Who's better than him?
He's their best player.
Cameroon.
Yeah, he's going.
He's playing regardless.
Chelsea offered a base of 100k with an incentive. PSG agreed 70 million transfer fee and the salary with him, but Napoli came back and wanted 100 million. The problem has always been Napoli. Osimhen never wanted Saudi. Yeah, I don't believe it's all on Osimhen.
I don't know where you've seen that, bro. Definitely not. Definitely not.
What's not right in that?
100k with incentives, base 100k with incentives. Nah.
But you guys did offer him a base with incentives, right? Last summer.
I've never seen figures of 100k.
Okay. So Chelsea, already done that super chat. Would like to ask you all, who would your dream signing would be for your team?
Dream signing, which means anyone.
Let's keep it realistic. I think.
I'm trying to think who is realistic.
Dreams don't have to be realistic.
Okay, anyone
Just
you
say
want.
Anything, Lawless. I want to know who's your dream signing.
Yeah,
I actually really want to know what Lawless is.
Yeah, I just want to know.
Do you know what? I haven't even been dreaming because I'm hearing reports that we've got no money to spend. So I haven't even been dreaming.
Dreams are for free, Lawless. Just dream.
I know.
Don't worry.
This season's
Dream
been
a little dream for me.
You want Declan back?
No. I wouldn't take him back.
Lies.
Nah. Do you know what? He's a rat. He's a fucking rat, lad.
You know what came up the other day, Lawless? 1 year or 2 years even on the parade, bro. 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah. The parade, 2 years.
Yeah, before he converted to Chelsea. Great days.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Lawless, your answer was. I mean, everyone's answer should probably be like Yamal or something.
We could take him out. Yeah, all of that. I'm still trying to be somewhat realistic. Yeah, you could say Yamal, Rafinha's, Kvaratskhelia. Like we could just throw out these names if we want. Like I'm trying to think of players that I've actually been wanting before I gave up on the window. That we
doesn't it show how bad like West Ham are? Their fans aren't even dreaming of signing players.
Yeah, because it's like
your life sucks.
Because Sullivan won't put money in. Like he won't invest money, so we can, sign some players. I'm just like, what's the point? What is the point?
Who's yours, Don? We'll move on to someone. Who's yours, Don?
I would say Haaland.
Okay.
I think Haaland would absolutely love playing with Enzo and Palmer and these guys, bro. He would love it, man. The way Man City have struggled with creativity, bro. This guy would absolutely eat at this club.
Isak, I'll say Isak. Just say Isak for me. Like if we're going dreams and all of that, we need a like that. I've always wanted one.
What he says, Daffy?
Yeah, Yamal. I already said that.
I thought Cunha was your dream side. Cunha. I thought he was your dream.
Yamal to play at right wing back, brother.
Hey. See, now I'm not even thinking about that. I'm just thinking about Yamal playing for my club in general because I just know he's there.
I have a dream.
Yamal, I wouldn't give a shit about what's his name, Amorim. I'd be like, first thing, get him the fuck out, play 4-3-3, and put Yamal there because Yamal's about to eat for the next 2 decades, bro.
That's how we get Staffy to be Amorim out.
Mine's a bit more. Mine's more bitter.
Ooh.
So
he already has Bruno, bro. Your dream player is here. We can just move on. You don't have an
got to be
answer.
an ugly player with no tech. But this is what I would like to do. Dream a little dream for me. So if I could like wave a magic wand, I've actually got a straw in my hand, a metal one. So like, if I had a wand from Harry Potter and I could do a Expelliarmus things, right? What I would do is this: Trent Alexander-Arnold to join Man United, Player of the Year, Ballon d'Or winner in winning us a Premier League. Just watching the meltdown in Merseyside of Trent doing that. Aside from being champions, it would just be the most beautiful thing to watch in the world as a Man United fan. So yeah, Trent to Man United to help us win a Premier League. I'm
going to change it to Harry Kane to West Ham to help us win a Premier League.
So it's a good one, right? It's a good fantasy. It's a good fantasy. It's a good fantasy.
Because it not only elevates us, it puts your rivals in the right.
Exactly. Like again, I don't really want Trent. I actually want a better right back, but it's just the you sign him, he's your talisman, he breaks the assist record that season, wins us the Prem, wins the Ballon d'Or with Trent on his back as well. Do you know what I mean? It'd all just be beautiful. It'd all be a laugh. Yeah, I mean, he'll have to learn how to speak Mancunian though before he joins. Funny thing about Trent is he said he was a fan of Madrid Champions League 3-peat, but blood got beat in one of those finals. Listen, I understand why you guys are angry, and it's not. This is. Do you know what this is as well? Like, you guys are watching it. This is like watching your ex have. You remember that TV show where that guy's screaming on the beach, Montana, whatever it was called, where he's watching his girlfriend get piped by another man. That is what Liverpool fans are going through. They are literally sitting there, and they're actually not forced. They don't have to consume any of this. They can all just mute the word Trent Alexander-Arnold. They'd see none of it, by the way. Just mute it. But they are sitting there watching their beloved get absolutely piped out by a geezer, and she's sitting there going, the best I've ever had. I've always dreamt of this. And they're sitting there going, hang on. So when you're with me, you're thinking of him. I get it. I get the imagine.
You are loving this, isn't it? Be real. As a Man United fan, you are absolutely loving this.
On a real level, I get why they're angry. I'm not against them. I just like asking them questions that will wind them up further, because they would do exactly the same to me. What I find interesting about it is they don't have to watch this. They could, if they went on Twitter now and muted his name, they wouldn't see a single thing about him on Twitter. How do I know? Because I have things muted. I never see him again. It's how I didn't find out the ending of Game of Thrones. I just muted all the things connected to Game of Thrones. Didn't see any of it. So,
but you know what I thought about the most? I was listening to Tom yesterday on the Top 6 show. I would love to know, what is Tom's relationship with his first ex? This guy, I bet you, bro, he burns bridges. He doesn't just burn bridges, he burns the whole village, bro. The way this guy was so angry about him, I bet you he hates any ex that exists in his life. He probably wouldn't even, like, if you're going in the street and he's walking by, he'd probably take a piss on him. That's how much this guy
100%. I was listening to Top 6 yesterday, and he was like talking about the post that Trent put up. And I'm like, he was like, oh, well, I would have said this. And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter what Trent says at this point. You would just move the goalpost. That's what you would do. You know what I mean? Your analogy was spot on. Your analogy was spot on, bro. I don't understand how that's making it about himself. It's like, bro, he's been there for over 20 years. Like, of course he's going to be upset.
Yeah, this is the thing. I totally understand why they're hating. What I'm enjoying now is they're getting a rap. Like, you made the parade all about you. Again, if you unfollow him on Twitter and block and mute, you won't see anything. You don't need to. But what they're doing is what the ex does, both male and female. You break up with someone. What are you checking their socials, where they're going? You're asking about them.
I'm stalking right now. That's
exactly.
What
you guys are making yourselves angry, and you don't need to do that. But it is beautiful to watch. Like, I'm just winding them all up. Like, I don't even know how good or bad. I don't even know how good or bad the Spanish is. I'm just saying it for a bit of a joke. And don't act like they wouldn't do the same to us. Are Chelsea under investigation? Yes, by the Premier League, and I think FIFA or UEFA have got involved in that as well now. The answer is yes. Well, you know what, you grassed yourselves up for it, didn't you? All the offshore payments to agents to land hazards and stuff.
We got fined for that.
No, you haven't. It's not been.
Admitted guilt. Sorry.
Yeah, you grassed yourselves up and have admitted guilt, but UEFA are now investigating it as well. So the conclusion hasn't been come to yet. Yeah. Who got more hates, Tom for Trent or Igal for Foden? Oh, Igal for Foden's is just weird, because Foden's done nothing to Arsenal. At least Tom's got a reason. Like, you got to be fair with that one.
He doesn't hate Foden. He's just like obsessed with shitting on Foden. Tom has real hate to Trent.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's a good point.
I feel like if he sees him in the streets of Liverpool, he wouldn't even shake his hand. He dead ass wouldn't. He'd just walk away. He'd probably spit on him.
No, do you know what? I disagree. Right? I remember when all the AFTV boys were like venomous towards Wenger. And then there's a few video clips in that same era where they were at events where he was, or they saw him in the car afterwards, and they were like, Arsene! And I was like, hang on. There's a few
DT posted the selfie with him. DT was up there.
There's a few Arsenal fans now that I think wouldn't be too nice to Arteta, but most of the guys that scream and shout about him, if he walks into a room, they'd be like, oh, hello, Mikel. Oh, hello.
No, but
the only one I guarantee wouldn't is Lee Gunner. Lee Gunner's the only one who I think would say, you shit, get out my club, if not worse. Most of them
he'll
would
probably
go,
keep it.
oh, Mikel. Oh, hello. Oh,
but that's not rap activity, though. Like, Trent is looked at as a rap. That's different. Like, I don't like Casemiro, but I'll be honest. If I'm walking the streets in New York and I see this guy's going to Central Park, I'm gonna pose up with him. I'll be like, yo, I'm your biggest. I lie to him.
I disagree.
Like, yo, I fuck with you. I'll take a picture and I'll send it to the group chat.
Paddy Pimblett might do it. I think listen, let's see if we can raise the money to get this done. I reckon if you put Trent and Tom Little in a room, I reckon Tom asked to carry his bags or something. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think I don't know if he's attacking him. Don, I apologize to you. You were absolutely right about Osimhen. This brother needs to decide what he wants, bread or career.
Bro, he's so indecisive. Terry. Bro, last summer I was literally live, right? The Omarodian deal fell through. Then we see that we're signing Felix. I'm like, Osimhen next. The puzzle's going to be completed. And then before you know it, he loses out on going to Saudi. They took Tony instead. He ended up not coming Chelsea and ends up in Turkey, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This guy's so indecisive. He's so indecisive, man.
Lawless, would wish to be an Arsenal fan? Oh, if you could have any wish. Yeah. If you could go back and start your life again and pick a new team. If you had to, right? So this is this is a great question for the podcast. You have to pick a team here. Your club's going to be eradicated from the history of man. Not even you are going to remember it. You can pick a new team, though. You go back to being a kid and start again. You get to pick a new team. Who would it be?
That's a tough question. To me, it'd have to be like someone fairly local, like that I can get to, but I wouldn't want to support Chelsea's or Arsenal's, like, you know, because you got Leyton Orient, you got Charlton's, like that's the thing for me. I wouldn't want to support a club that I couldn't go and watch easily. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'd have to be still someone that I can get to. That and I wouldn't want it to be Chelsea. I wouldn't want it to be Arsenal or Spurs. They'd be out of the question. Maybe Brentford or something, like, even though they're West London's gettable. That's a tough question. That is real tough.
I know. So what about yourself, Don? Would yours just be West Ham because they're local?
Come on,
Don. Actually wouldn't.
Fuck off.
I'm gonna go a little bit different with this one. So probably be Barcelona. Barcelona.
We can all just say that.
No. I've actually got a reason though, because I actually started playing football because of Ronaldinho, bro. When I was watching him, that's what got me into football, man.
Not your own football club, Chelsea.
Playing the football that, like, you know, when you always, bro, Ronaldinho, Jogo Bonito, bro. Like, when I used to watch him, I used to think, wow, like, you know what I mean? Wow, Zola was before my time, Terry.
Why didn't you just support them then? Why don't you just be a Barca fan?
I was a Chelsea fan already, bro. You know what I mean? I can watch from afar. You know what I mean? I've showed you lot the pictures of me young, bro.
Yeah. All right. We've seen the AI.
It's mad though, isn't it? Like, Ronaldinho is the man that made him start playing football, but yet he plays that Titus Bramble. That's the funniest part, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Bro, no. Where's the charity game? You need to sort out a charity game so we can play. I need to see what everyone's like.
What's this? We're trying to. I'll tell you guys when we're off camera. There's something we're trying to do, but I'll chat to you about it later. Staffy. Who'd you pick?
Yeah, we need the Man United.
It would have been Barcelona as well.
I get at your end. See, for me, I actually think the one thing you said something that changed my mind. I was going to pick. It's either Leyton Orient or West Ham for me, and the reason why I say that is I still wouldn't pick Tottenham because I know what they are. Right? I wouldn't do it to myself, but I like the local thing, as in I fell in love with Man United, and they were the team I supported. But I think if I was aware that my team was going to be eradicated and I had to pick a new one, I'd have just gone and I go back to being a kid. It would probably be Leyton Orient with my brothers or West Ham because it was, near. There's that. But it's a real hard question. I'm just trying to think of a team that I don't despise. And I don't despise West Ham. And that my nan and granddad supported them and went regularly or Leyton Orient. It'd be one of the two. Maybe Orient because my big brother supports them. Something like that. But it wouldn't. I couldn't pick another Premier League team. I feel like there's too much. I just couldn't do it. And Arsenal.
The first European clubs I got exposed to was Barcelona, Arsenal, and then United. There was a very high chance that I could have become an Arsenal fan. I think I told you guys that story before. But my cousin, I used to always go to my cousin's house. He was a lot older than me, but he used to have Ronaldinho and Rivaldo posters all over the place. And he used to take me to play some football with him. And he was a big Barcelona fan. My brother became a Barcelona fan because of him. I didn't want to follow. I don't like to just follow what everyone does. So I wanted to pick my own team. And the only two teams that I knew in English was Arsenal and United. And I just picked United. It was a complete 50-50.
I could have ended up being a Liverpool fan if Man United, again, based on this question, if Man United never existed, no one knew who they were. Because so many of my uncles and family and cousins were Liverpool fans. And part of the reason I picked United is because of how they treated and spoke about United. And they kind of, at the time, in the late 80s, United were like a punching bag. And it was like, well, I'm going to support them because you guys are being horrible. If they didn't exist, maybe I would have, followed my cousins and uncle. Like that's also the other side of it. So it's such an interesting. I always want to. Again, I don't know how you ever make this. I'd love this to be made as like a documentary, but like done really. AI might make this possible. To be fair, imagine if, for instance, Chelsea don't get robbed in the 2009 semi-final. Imagine if United's second goal against Porto stands. And Jose doesn't run down the touchline and slide on his knees and win the treble and become Chelsea manager. Like almost like a what if series. Like what if this event didn't happen? Imagine Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Sheringham don't score those goals. How much longer would Fergie have been at the club? Would we have won more? Would we have won more with somebody else? Less. I'd love someone to kind of create like a what if like universe if something didn't happen in football. But yeah, from a fan point of view, what if your club didn't exist and you went back to the beginning and you picked another team? Who could it be? And I think a lot of people will have rivals. I mean, if you're an Arsenal fan and you go back to being a kid and Arsenal didn't exist, there's a good chance you'd be a Tottenham fan. Why? Because they're the other local team to you. Like you might not want to admit it, but there's a good chance you might pick them. If you genuinely grew up in the East End of London, Dan, and you didn't know West Ham, so you had no love for them now, and you went back to that time, there's a good chance you pick Arsenal or Tottenham. Genuinely, a good chance that you pick them because a lot of people in
the story of Barcelona as a club. That's why they would have been like if I had to choose another club, it would like if United shut doors tomorrow. I'm not gonna be a hardcore Barcelona fan, but I'm gonna go watch them. I just love the idea of their club. Like, the way they were always the underdogs under compared to Real Madrid. The fact that they've always been an academy factory, the amount of players that they brought from the academy, the fact that they're not even Spanish, they're Catalans. I respected them as a club, and that's why I always said if I didn't pick United, I would have picked them. I picked United with the logic also of their story, the Busby Babes and all that. When I heard about all that, I'm like, damn, so you're not even like from the capital, you're not from London, so you're from a smaller city, yet you managed to make your way into the biggest club of the country at that time. I was like, yeah, I respect the story. I'm gonna support them.
That's very true.
To be fair, I wouldn't have been a Spurs fan, like if big run up East London because there was no Spurs fans in East London. Like it was.
Bro, you don't want to be a Spurs fan.
Actually, I think
that's two Spurs fans growing up. That's two, bro.
But that's where you're different because you're to the part of East London because people don't realize how big London is. So you're like more Plaistow end, right? East Ham way. Yeah, see, that's different. I was in Leighton and Leytonstone. That is like northeast London. The next town to us is basically Tottenham. You go down the Lee Bridge Road and you're in Tottenham. So there was more in my part of East London because we were basically on that border of North London. So you get a lot more of that in our area. So and that's what people don't realize about London. It's so big. Like there's one side of East London to the other in traffic can take you an hour and a half. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a big place. I do want to touch on a story. We haven't touched on it yet. Did you see what Ornstein said about Rodrygo and Arsenal, saying that it's a deal they like, it's a deal they could look at, it's a deal they could pursue, but it could be expensive. A lot of Spanish outlets saying that Arsenal want to make this deal happen. They've equally said that Madrid want to keep him, but things could be difficult. But we had this conversation with Samuel McBell earlier on today, and he was saying that, you know, Arsenal are interested in him along with others. But there's a lot of Arsenal fans, a little bit like Chelsea, that are fuming and are angry at the moment at the speed of their work. Do you think they're right at the moment to be frustrated that they haven't got other deals agreed to the here we go stage, to the completion stage yet? Or do you believe they need to be a little bit more patient with their approach?
Well, they got Berta in, right? And I think there was a level of expectation that, okay, like this is the summer now. We're going to spend a load of money. We've got this director of football that's going to come in. He's going to make a difference. And I get it. It's early. Transfer window is not officially over yet. But again, when you see the teams that you're competing against, Man City and Liverpool making moves, you have to, it makes sense that Arsenal fans are going to compare what they do to them because that's your competition. So it makes complete sense that there's trepidation over the lack of serious movement. Do you know what I mean? And there seems to be, you know, a not a clear vision. Like 1 minute is Gyökeres, then it's Sesko, then it's Gyökeres, then it's Sesko. So they just, it doesn't feel like they're particularly close enough to these targets. So I completely agree why the fans that are unhappy are unhappy. Like they really need to go and be keeping pace with Liverpool and Man City and spending that money. If they've got the money to spend, then they shouldn't be quibbling over money. If they can get Rodrygo, then stump up the money. Like there's no reason for it. Like when you've got this director of football, he needs to be showing why he was brought in. So they need to, I think, try and act quicker because you do get left behind if the other teams are moving fast.
I mean, you said they're keeping the options open though, Lawless.
Yeah, but then that's a problem, though, isn't it? Like you're keeping your options open. You can keep your options open, but at the same time, this guy's come in. I would want, if it's me, I don't know about you guys, I would want a clear plan and vision of this is our first choice for this position, this position, this position. This is our second choice. This is our third choice, right? Boom, let's go execute. And okay, we might not get this. Like that, you need that plan. If you can go sit there and say, well, let's see what happens with the market. Let's see. Maybe we can go and see how the Gyökeres, see what that price does, see what this happens. Like if you do that, that's fine. But just know when other clubs are being more decisive, you can be in danger of falling behind. So that,
I think it's a little bit too early to over criticize them. Same energy as what I've got for Chelsea, bro. If this was like midway through the window and I'm seeing Arsenal moving a bit sluggish and they're not really getting things done, I'd potentially have a different take. Same thing as Chelsea. But right now, it's just a little bit too early, man. They probably have things marinating. They've got Berta. It's the first time that they've got someone who I think is quite serious in terms of transfers and whatnot. So let's see what they do. Let's see what they do, man.
Yeah, I feel a bit similar. It's like, you know, one thing that two different journalists have now said to me, which I think is always worth bearing in mind, is if they go, like Sane was an option. He's actually being paid massive money to go to Galatasaray, but he was an option. But if they get him, that's it. They're not getting Williams, and they're probably unlikely to get Rodrygo. So maybe wait. They could act now. They could have gone and got the lap early in the window, potentially. They could have beaten Chelsea and Man United, potentially, to be signing. But then does that stop the players they think are better from coming in? You know, there's even this thought that he put out today, Samuel McBell, that right now the Isak deal is considered to be almost impossible. But there is a thought that a number of teams that want strikers. You know, when people say, why are clubs just not going and signing Gyökeres because he's the best out there? Well, there's a train of thought that let's wait and see what Isak's mind might be like when he gets back from holiday. Maybe he comes back from holiday after spending some time with his missus or wife or family and goes, actually, I fancy a move. This is all hypothetical. I think as well, as much as it's good to get signings in quickly, you've seen Frimpong over the line, Cunha over the line. We're talking the big six teams here. And we've seen the lap in. Let's forget the lap for a minute. And you've seen who else? Wirtz.
Cherki.
Yeah, but Cherki's three deals got done quickly because they're in the club World Cup. The lap got done quickly because you're in the Club World Cup. The speed of execution was for this tournament. The only reason that Wirtz has been done now is because two teams at the Club World Cup also wanted to buy him. So Liverpool had to act on their deal sooner rather than later. I do think all of us as fans are getting a little bit too carried away too early in this window. And I'm not saying it won't, they might not sign on for another 6 weeks and then they really get angry because pre-season started and there is no new players in yet. But I also think that if you go too early this summer, spend all your money too quickly, you might miss something else that comes that comes down the line later. Do you remember The Voice, the TV show The Voice, where they press the button and turn around? I remember watching it. I used to watch it. I don't watch it anymore. But there was a year where Will.i.am, and he said Will Smith, Will.i.am had like 3 turns left, and everyone else used theirs. And they're like, why didn't you pick those? Were really good singers. And he went, I've got a gut feeling something magic's coming later in the auditions, and I'm the only one now left that can pick them. And he ended up getting the person that comes second and winning the show in that period. And sometimes in life, like, hold your horses a little bit. Something really good might be about to happen. You look at the Rodrygo thing. There are rumors he'll stay. There's rumors he'll go. I think the Club World Cup is going to tell us a lot about that. If Arsenal go today and sign Rashford, I'm throwing a name out there, or they go and get Williams, but their number one target is Rodrygo. He has a bad World Cup in terms of his relationships with Alonso are not great, barely kicks a ball and goes, I'm leaving. And then Arsenal was sitting there going, we've already bought someone. Wouldn't they feel a little bit silly? As opposed to maybe
a gamble. So what you're talking about is a gamble, because
exactly.
Yeah,
and
the other way
go wrong. And I'm not saying I'm not saying completely waiting is the perfect decision. I'm just saying maybe as fans, but then I suppose we've got to get out, haven't we, as fans? You could be an Arsenal fan or a Chelsea fan that screams, like some of your boys are doing, Don. You scream every day. I was on the United stand earlier, people going mad that we haven't got Mbeumo done yet. We might end up getting someone better than him if we miss out. But the people that were screaming will then just join in with the celebrations.
Yeah, you're going to look stupid. That's what I'm saying. You're going to look stupid.
But these people don't care, though, Don. Like, you could have a Chelsea fan now that every day says you shit. Then you end up signing Rodrygo, and they're like, my Chelsea. Hang on, what do you mean your Chelsea? Yeah. You call him, but they get away with it. So I think it's just easier sometimes to just be negative.
I know a few people.
Because
what it is right now, people
you're always allowed in the party.
You know the ones there, Terry. People just want a little bit of a hit. You know what I mean? They want a little bit of a hit.
That's what it is. That's what it is, bruv. That's what it is.
They want that Ornstein bomber. They want that Fabrizio, here we go. They just want to feel like their club's doing something. But, bro, right now, your club could be so advanced in a mad deal that you never expected, right? And then all of a sudden, in a month's time, here we go. And then when you get all the information about what happened with that person, you're going to find out the ins and outs about that deal. You know what I mean? I always reference that Pedro Neto deal. I know Pedro Neto hasn't been... It's been a bit underwhelming in regards to what we expected. But let's be real. Last summer, everyone would have taken Neto, bro, for their club.
No, 100%. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Arsenal, you know what I mean? And we got this guy under, like, no one knew what was going on. So Arsenal might have other things like that going on, bro. We don't know. They might be working now on Morgan Gibbs-White. You know what I'm saying? Morgan Gibbs-White ain't going to Man City no more. They might be working on that deal. They might have other things lined up. We don't know these things, man.
Wait. While we're at it, Don, I actually want to give him a shout. I think they actually could go. They should go for him. Not only can he play down the left and he can play down the right, he can play down the middle. And I feel like this doesn't get spoken about enough. Arsenal need a 10. If you can go get a Morgan Gibbs-White, listen, don't get me wrong. If you can get Rodrygo, 100%, go get Rodrygo. Rodrygo's better than Morgan Gibbs-White. Talking about a different signing.
You can't really compare them, though.
Yeah. In terms of a signing, he would be a better player than, because they desperately need someone down the left.
However, I think they need both. I think they need both positions, bro.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you could get a Morgan Gibbs-White, it would be a good signing for them. He's not going to City, like you said. They got Shirky, and they already sorted out their midfield. He potentially wants to move, and he would take that step up from Forest to Arsenal. They need a 10, bro. I feel like it doesn't get spoken about enough. I got a clip that showed up on my phone the other day from actually it was this morning. It was Terry. It was the Terrace clips, and it was basically Mo saying that he thinks Zubamendi suits this Arsenal midfield, and it's a good midfield now. It complements each other, and I couldn't disagree more. I actually think this midfield doesn't complement each other at all. Odegaard, everyone knows right now he's not a 10. Last season proved it, and Arsenal fans said it, not me. They all think he's not a 10. If you get a Morgan Gibbs-White, I swear to God, it's so many of their issues. They're never. I know you always say this, Don. Put a double pivot. Arteta's not going to do that. Just give up that idea. He's not going to play with the double pivot. He's not going to do a Rice/Partey or a Rice/Zubamendi. They're always going to play a 3. If you can somehow get someone to play a little bit more advanced, like a Morgan Gibbs-White, and then you get Odegaard to do what he's good at, which is controlling games, and not asking him to do the Bruno Fernandes role that he doesn't do, that fixes that midfield more.
Where does Rice go then? Rice goes in the 6, as with Menu on the bench.
That's the one thing about it. I don't. That's one thing about it. I don't know who's their 6 now because do you want Zubamendi? I'm not gonna lie. Zubamendi. No. I'll tell you what. Issue with Zubamendi. Hold on. You're laughing, but I generally just had this stream last night on my channel. We were rating signings, and I was talking about how I like Zubamendi. I wanted Zubamendi at United last season, so I already rate him. I'm not gonna flip flop and say he's shit. My issue is, especially when I watched him closely this season, especially when he played United, bro, this guy on a physical level is gonna get eaten alive in the Premier League. So he needs a team that makes up for the lack of that. So he needs to, I think Zubamendi needs to play with the Rice on the pitch. But at the same time, when you fit Rice and Zubamendi, you just don't have a lot of creativity in the midfield because Odegaard is not that no more. I like Odegaard. I think he cares more about keeping the ball nice and tidy than taking risks. So you don't really have a creative outlet in the midfield, which is why I feel like Arteta's just doing a horrible job building this midfield. He has so many good players individually, and I just don't think they complement one idea
exactly.
in midfield.
He don't fit them together, bro. Like if you play Ultimate Team, you know about chemistry, bro. Yeah, the way he's playing people in that midfield right now, the chemistry will be low, fam. You know what I'm saying? The chemistry will be low in that midfield. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it, Staffy. So I just keep quiet these days when it comes to their midfield. Let them think that Rice is a maestro in midfield and all these things. But you're spitting facts. Bruno
scored a hat-trick on Zubamendi in the midfield, so there you go, Terry. You can actually run with that.
This are these super chats here. It says there's also players emotions that come into play. If you say a player is second choice, that player won't be happy to hear that. Shouldn't let that out. There's an element of truth to that, but there's all sorts of elements of players. I mean, there's players on holiday right now, and it's very well documented because their agents tell us that they often don't like to be disturbed because there's very few times of the year where they're actually alone with their family. And the last thing a lot of players want, and like Mbeumo could be in this position, the last thing he might want right now, maybe why it slowed down, is because he's away on holiday. And he sort of said, I don't even want to think about any, I'll pick United, let me go away, I'll come back and talk to you in 2 weeks. One of the worst things you could do is maybe be ringing him every week while he's on holiday with his family saying, you're going to sign yet? You're going to sign yet? Can we announce it yet? It might piss him off. You've really got to manage these things well. Equally, some players love you continuing to chase them. Chelsea lost out Lukaku to United. Not that anyone cares anymore. He was flopped for us, and then he flopped for you in the future. But the reason why we got him is you guys had it done and just left him alone for his holidays, and United carried on talking to him and changed his mind. There's so many ways these things can go. I just don't understand why fans haven't learned that yet.
Pogba to Monaco, you know.
Sorry?
Pogba to Monaco. Fabrizio just put it out.
Oh, is that
no
done?
Way.
Oh, nice.
Two-year contract.
I'm happy for him. Nice.
Hey, and yo, I was just thinking yesterday, I was like, when is this guy gonna get a club?
Go on, Pogba.
I'll watch it on next season.
If Porto did score last minute, versus United, Mourinho wouldn't have won. You mean wouldn't have won the Champions League which means he would never have joined Chelsea and history changes. Well, theoretically, that may have happened. Equally, United probably would have beaten that Monaco team and have had another Champions League. And I'd love someone to make one of these what ifs, like base it on probability and how good teams work. Like, base it as close to fact as you can, change a few bits. AI must be able to create this. I'd watch it. I'd watch it like the alternative universe football scenarios. It'd be so interesting to watch, I think. Like, it really would. Terry, I got a what if for you. If Liverpool were the only team banned in the 80s, what would happen? Well, look, in the 5 years English teams were banned, Liverpool won the league 3 times. So they might have won 3 more Champions Leagues, to be fair. But those two, I think the Everton team that won the league and Arsenal team that won the league were also very, very good that didn't have a chance at the Champions League at that point. So see,
we would have been in the Champions League. We would have been in the Champions League.
Why?
Because we finished 3rd.
No, but it was only the champions that went in back then, wasn't it?
No, I don't think so. In the 80s. I don't think in the 80s it was. In the late 80s. 86.
Yeah, 86. Man. You just want to be in the Champions League so bad.
I swear it was only the champions that went in back then, Lawless. That would have been... You would have. I don't even know if that was a Europe. I don't know.
Well, it was in Europe. We'll have to double check that. But yeah.
Wait, Lawrence, have you guys ever been in the Champions League? Genuine question. I don't even know. Well, I don't know. Now that you said that, it got me thinking. Have you ever been in the Champions League?
In the Premier League era, like I said, if top 4 wasn't a thing then, Then okay, it was the champions. Well, no, we haven't won the league then. And
But
then
you've
we
been like
haven't
back in the day.
No, yeah. Like we would have got Champions League if Payet didn't get injured in 15, 16.
Yeah, that's not what I'm asking. I'm just asking Jello, have you ever been in the Champions League?
Yeah, no, we haven't. We haven't.
Alas, that was the answer. I'm not even trying to bend there. I was genuinely curious.
Yeah.
It says here, no, the top 3 teams in England did not automatically qualify for the Champions League, also known as European Cup 96. UEFA banned. Okay, that's because of the ban. I don't know if it was the league. That doesn't really answer the question.
Yeah. And what about the other comps?
Yeah, I'd have to search it. I'd have to do a bit of research on that. Don, don't claim to know when you actually don't. People close to Osimhen say base from Chelsea was 100k. Chelsea ain't giving new players over 100k base.
Listen, I follow enough Chelsea aggregators. I ain't seen that anywhere once. I haven't seen those figures anywhere once, bro. You have to DM me and show me, man.
Same. Look, I want to thank every single person who's tuned into our show today. It means a great deal to us that you're all here. A much longer show than I expected, but it was a good vibe. I enjoyed it. Back later tonight if there's any breaking news. If not, over the weekend, keeping you up to date with transfers, doing some more phone-in shows as well. Go and check out our brand new Instagram account as well. Nearly 40,000 followers over there. So big up to every single person that's
by the way,
before you go,
we just got a tweet as well. Nico Williams just met with Barcelona today. So
This guy, honestly, I can't wait for this saga to finish. I'm tired, bro. I'm a
bit tired of it now. I thought he didn't want to go there. Now he is.
It's not even fucking Neymar at this point, bro. Like, what's going on?
No, I hear you. Go follow the Instagram account, people. Go give us a little follow over there now. But until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.